Well, gang, we are live. I'll mute myself so no one else has to listen to me bitch and moan here. Give me a second. Okay, so no one's going to be able to, except for you, dear viewers, right? This ain't my show. We're waiting to start. I am here to be a debater. I am not the moderator. I did not choose the guests. I did not choose the topics. I don't even know what the topics are going to be, but here we are, and this is what we're going to do. I know it's a little later than we normally do, but why the fuck not, right? We're going to get into it. If you guys got super chats, I'll try to read them, but it's not my show, so I didn't get to really get in here. Yeah. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm nervous about this because I don't know if it's going to be a shit show or not. I don't know. So we'll see. Good luck. I'll undeafen and we'll see what they have to say. Right? Okay.
I'd smash. Okay, finally, they fucking lost. This game went way longer than I thought it was going to.
How's everyone doing?
I'll just have this on my mouse the whole time, Druid.
Well, I'm always great when you're here. Weird.
Well, we'll see. Does anyone know what we're talking about tonight? I don't even know what we're talking about tonight. I'll be real.
XRP. No, I'm just kidding.
I think this is in part revenge panel for last night.
No.
What do you mean a revenge panel? What happened last night?
Where'd you get that burglar
Gibbs
hoodie,
and
man?
Grid were on my show, and I guess I don't know why they're calling it a revenge panel, but
That's my
I don't feel like we need revenge. If anything, it's a sympathy deal. Wick, where'd you get that burglar hoodie, man?
Oh, I've had this hoodie for a long, long time. It's my favorite. It's very comfortable. So I wear it all the time, right?
Yeah, it looks like you could do some real black bag stuff with that.
Exactly. I'm a menace. True.
My fiance said be on your best behavior. She's watching.
Does your fiance watch my show often?
She better not.
Wonderful. This is great. Awesome. Everyone's doing good. Everyone's having fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, still getting set up. I'm a little late.
Hello.
Give me just 1 second. Sorry.
That's
I'm
fine.
on
Everybody's
like
running late.
a really evil sleep schedule, and I kind of just woke up.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Why isn't your fiance allowed to watch my show? My audience wants to know.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
What else was he going to say?
I don't know.
All right, guys, perfect. Yeah, I'm just gonna server mute everybody real quick so we can do an intro, and then we'll be all on mute y'all as we go.
Your audience.
All right. I hope everybody's ready. Welcome to another episode. Oh wait, let me unmute this shit. That'd be helpful. Welcome to another episode of Give Me a Break. We have a fantastic panel tonight to discuss the real state of the union after Trump's amazing congressional events yesterday. I'm sure there's going to be some hot topic and opinions. We have a wonderful panel. All right, let's go to one of the strongest MAGA supporters, which is actually a center lefty, Average Debater. Tell us who you are, where to find you, what you do.
Tyler, Average Debate Enjoyer. I make really boring content about things that most people don't care about. Right now, we're working on a housing policy I thought up, getting left and right wingers to participate in it. It's super nerdy. If you don't care, then more power to you. But if you do, come check me out. Otherwise, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, Average Debate Enjoyer.
Thanks, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, from center lefty to the reason why I'm in Twitch poll at all. The first guy who gave me a chance here, it's Wick TV. So if y'all hate any of my takes, it's all his fault. Go ahead. What do you do, Papa?
Well, my name's Wick. I host a show called Wick TV. It's a debate show where we have debates. That's my show. That's me. Here I am.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being here, Wick.
My alarm went off. I'll be right back.
Great. Enjoy grabbing your food. But to the other guy who gave me a chance here, Twitch Paul, another wonderful lefty, the host of the Reverie, and which one I'm on every Monday, and All Black Everything, Mr. Prime K, K's himself.
Well, thanks for having me here. Shout out to my good friend Gibbs for inviting me to this. Yeah, but my name is Prime. I do panels such as this. You'll find Gibbs on my panels Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, but we do other panels. So come check me out on YouTube or Twitch at Prime Kai. So PrimeCayes. If you enjoy what I do here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. To another one of my favorite writers, we have Mr. Grid One Motorsports. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Grid One Motorsports. I do commentary, some debates. I have a show on YouTube that's decent, I guess. I don't know. And that's kind of what I do. I just talk shit on the internet. Hope to get paid.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. To the head of the unofficial MAGA headquarters and one of my favorite lawyers, Pintable TV.
That's right. I am the self-declared head of MAGA headquarters here on Twitch, and we also stream baseball in the summer. So baseball and politics, mostly on Twitch, right here.
All right, thank you so much. And finally, last but not least, we have Miss Enemy Charlie, one of my favorite members of the Cute House, and according to Modi201, his future wife, based off what I saw on TwitchCon. I know she probably hates me for saying that, but we all saw it. We all saw it get married. But thank you so much for being here. Tell us who you are, what you do.
No, thank you for having me. Hello. I just woke up. I stream on Twitch. I talk about politics sometimes. But mostly I don't actually know what I do. I do stuff. My background is not in politics, it's in fantasy literature. So I'll be honest with you, I'll try to keep up, I'll do my best, but I could tell you more about Tolkien than I could about foreign policy.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so I guess today's the topic. We're going to talk about the congressional address. I guess to start, it's kind of going to be a little bit of a moving topic. So if I start talking, y'all try to let me get in here so that we can just for order and move maybe to the next topic if something's played out for a while, because there was a lot of stuff in there. Let's start with a general appraisal. Y'all can just give intros of what y'all thought over everything. We'll start with the same order we went in here for that. Average debate, Joy.
So we're talking about the State of the Union?
Yeah, let's talk about the congressional address.
Yes.
The real State of the Union.
Yeah, State of the Union. I think generally the speech, like if you watch like a lot of Trump speeches, there's nothing there you haven't heard. Like even the jokes, the Marco Rubio getting 99 votes joke has been verbatim said by him. I think I've heard it 6 times. Generally, like it's the exact same speech you hear at his rallies and all these different things he goes to. It's pretty canned. Generally, though, like he was elected, the State of the Union, I think, is pretty strong always. I think almost everything is hyperbole in politics, and almost every president was pretty damn good in the last 25 years. So I think we're all doing great, and everyone's just got their panties up in a bunch. So,
all right, thank you so much, Mr. Wick TV.
Okay, so first of all, it was the longest State of the Union address on record, at least for the joint session of Congress. That man can talk. Paint off the walls. It was boring. I think if I had to use one word, it was boring. Lame is another word I would use. He didn't touch on anything. The most important thing he touched on was his doubling down on tariffs, which are going to strip the economic power of America and destroy us economically. So that's fun. Won't that be great? Here we are. That's my thoughts. That's a good intro. There you go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prime K's. Guys, excuse me.
As usual, I disagree with my friend Wick. I think that it was interesting. It was interesting speech. I mean, I was playing Cyberpunk 2077 while I was listening to it, but I thought it was interesting still. And that it laid out like what the priorities were. Now it sounded like a campaign speech because mostly it was, right, especially at the very start of it. But it let the public know, right, let everyone understand exactly what he thought was important, right? Harassing illegal immigrants, tariffs, right? Like with Doge, right? These are the things that he made a point of going through and very thoroughly laying out like what he wanted to do with these things. So I thought it was actually useful, and I'm glad other people watched as well.
All right, thank you so much. Grid one.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really appreciate you having me here again, Wick. Not Wick, Gibbs. Hey, man.
I know we look so much alike. We look very.
I know well. I don't know. It's the hoodie, man. I can't get over the hoodie. So I liked it. I liked everything about the address. I really especially liked that basically everything that we had, or that I had mentioned in the debate just a couple hours earlier, Trump actually repeated almost everything. No, not everything I said, but several things I said. We're going to get into that later. It was fucking awesome. I loved it. It was great. I can't say it enough. I think the Democrats embarrass themselves, and I think that they really need to grow up. And that's all.
All right, Pin Supple.
As the head of MAGA headquarters, I watch nearly every Trump speech he gives. I watched him during the campaign, and I'll say I think this was one of his best speeches. I think part of that is probably the joy that I feel now that we're actually implementing everything that we campaigned on. It doesn't surprise me that maybe if you didn't vote for Trump, that you'd be kind of seething at this time. It's probably one of the worst positions to be in. But I thought he covered his first 2 months very well. He talked about the future of his term and what he wants to do. He showed good things that have been happening. I thought it was really touching what he did with the 13-year-old boy with brain cancer and stuff. And you can accuse him of doing optics, but I think all the Democrats sitting there in pink are equally aware of how this is an optics game. So I would say he won on the optics. He won on the substance. I thought it was a great speech. I keep hearing whether it was a State of the Union or a joint sessions speech. I don't know if that's meaningful distinction or not, but
it's not really. It's just a technicality.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So whether it was a State of the Union or not, I thought it was a great speech, and I enjoyed watching it. Obviously, as someone who supports him and wanted him to do all of this. Hearing him come out and say, "We're doing all of this" and actively doing it. It's a great place to be in.
All right, thank you so much. And Enemy Charlie.
I thought that I was particularly irritated. My politics are very left, by the way. I didn't bring that up. I would consider myself a Marxist. I was very irritated by the paltry show of resistance by the Democrats. I think, wearing pink in protest and having a "this is not normal" sign is very pathetic. Did not appreciate seeing that. I thought that bringing up the kid with cancer thing was weird. As far as I know, I think that they've cut cancer research funding. So that's, I guess, fuck that kid and his family or something. I'm honestly, it felt like a lot of Trump slop, which is a lot of bragging. With I feel like not much to show for it. As far as I know, I think that the Supreme Court just overturned the cuts to the USAID funding. So I just feel like, honestly, right now he's bragging about executive orders that aren't really, actually taking place in a meaningful way. Those are my thoughts on it. Oh, and tariffs. Fuck.
Yeah, talk about
That's gonna
tariffs. Don't forget that.
Tariffs, the stock market. The stock market has crashed, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't crashed, but it's dropping again, right? So that's like a special tariffs, special treat for all of us Americans.
Buy the dip.
Yeah, at least egg prices are down.
Buy the dip.
Right?
Buy the dip. You're not buying them.
Let it finish. And then
Best thing I've seen in ages, man.
Sorry.
Sorry. Let it finish here. We'll open it up
My
for
bad.
discussion. Was that it, Charlie?
Are you done, Emily?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my bad then. I didn't mean to stop the session. One point of order. I want to shout out everybody for being here. Thanks so much. We'll get you all properly shouted out here throughout the stream. Thank you all once again for coming. I'm excited. If you feel like you can't get in, as always, raise your hand. We're trying to keep it one at a time so people can hear us, but some exchanges are good. Go ahead, stick it, boys.
So yeah, I think the kid with cancer who was made a honorary Secret Service agent, I think is indicative of Trump's style and how Trump operates. He was given a honorary Secret Service, but the funding for his cancer research to help cure him and help him was cut by Doge.
What do you?
So
Okay,
this
well, you
is constantly. Let me finish. No. Let me finish. So again, this constant appeal to aesthetics of things that make people go rah rah rah, but do absolutely nothing. And when we get into the nitty gritty, when we get into actually governing this country, he does not know what he is doing. He is constantly making the wrong moves, both in domestic policy with tariffs, foreign policy with Ukraine, and just consistently fucking up. He has made us weaker, more poor, and worse off than we have been in a long, long time. And it's what, day 60, day 70?
All right. So on the cancer research thing, there's not one place that does cancer research. Okay. And second of all, we know the government is bloated. Just because they put down cancer research, $30 million, doesn't mean that $30 million is being used effectively for cancer
research. What was
research.
it being used
Nobody's going to challenge you that we want to do cancer research. What we're challenging is this the best way to do it? Is this the most effective way to use our money to pursue these goals? I think a lot of times when you involve the government, it's not. Nobody's going to challenge that we want cancer research. But you're acting like, oh, we cut one program for cancer research. Now there's no cancer research. This kid has no chance. That makes no sense. That's such a, like, what are we doing here?
Can I get a little clarity of what you just said? And maybe you just misspoke. But
Field emotion.
You said there's no place that does cancer research, or maybe you
No. I said I'm saying there's not just one place that does cancer research. There's not like one program. There's not like one facility. Like,
they have a budget for it.
Well, your mic is low, by the way.
Right, but what I'm saying is when you have the government involved, that's where you're going to have
do you think government research grants are bad?
No, I think that they can be bad. I think they can. Just because they write down something pretty doesn't mean that that's going to be the most effective use of our money for that.
To cancer research is bad.
Right. Not if it's actually going to that research and being used effectively. If it's getting derailed into all these bureaucratic costs, then no, I don't want to fund that anymore. I want to fund cancer research in a way that doesn't involve.
Let's go to Charlie.
Right, but if it's getting derailed into all these administrative costs, and then we send $30 to $1 for actual research, then that's not how we should research cancer. That's not how we should research cancer. No, but it is. But it is.
Hold on, Patel. Let's go to Charlie, and then we're going to go to Prime, and then I'll let Grid and Tyler get in on this. Go ahead.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I got your back. I know everybody wants to get in. Go ahead, Charlie.
All right. So federal grants for things like cancer research go to universities. We have a budget for it, and it's like,
yeah.
I would think that based on the amount of, I don't know, fucking body of research on cancer that we have seen over the years, which has been insane. I think they're doing the research on cancer.
I'm not suggesting they're not doing the research.
That has suggested otherwise. Unless you have.
I'm not suggesting they're not doing the research. I'm suggesting if we send $30 million and get $2 million worth of research because half of it gets derailed in administrative costs at universities, that's not the most efficient way for us to be studying these things. There's other ways that we can study cancer. Nobody's going to challenge you on studying cancer.
Other than that, no, let's pin him on this. Other than that,
universities not the only way we do this.
Let Charlie respond to that. Hold on, let Charlie respond to that.
I would say we should ensure, just to give you my clear position so that you can respond to it. I would say I want programs that at universities to get these grants, and I want to have more oversight. I want to be ensured. I want to know that when we're giving these grants out, that we're getting that much in our research back. We want to have an efficient process. That's all we're asking for. When you have the government involved, it's not about what the process is. They're just generally inefficient. Bureaucratic costs get involved all the time with these kinds of things. We grant this much money and barely any of it gets there.
Let me let Charlie respond to that. Don't interrupt there. Let me finish, and then we're going to try to get some of the other people in here because I know some other people haven't got a chance to talk.
Appreciate that.
And I know you're
stupid.
I like the fire.
He's stupid.
Let her go here real quick. Go ahead.
Also, I'm okay with fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure,
usually when I go on, I used to go on one of these sorts of things, and it would be like a bunch of dudes screaming at me and calling me like slurs. So you know what?
Listen, I'm not doing it to baby you. Well. I just want to get some order here. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it to baby. I just want like all of the people to get in here at some point. But go ahead, respond to what he said.
But I do appreciate that. And okay, I would like to see where you're getting those numbers about like 30 million for cancer, but only 2 million goes to the research. Also, the thing about I agree with you in the sense that I do think certainly there does need to be, more oversight, I suppose, in many of the things that our federal budget funds. But they don't have like a doctor that specializes in cancer research overseeing these things. Like Elon Musk is not a doctor. Do they have cancer doctors working for
Do you think he
Doge?
signed off on it by himself? Like one person looked at this?
Yeah, I think that, like, yes, actually. Well, not just him.
Then you're wrong. You think
like,
one person looks at these before the decision is made? Elon isn't even capable of making these decisions. He's not the one who can sign off on it.
Well, Trump signs off on it, but they like them
He's an
and their
advisor.
fucking goons, dude. It's them and their fucking goons.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
let's go to
I know Prime.
They don't know how they.
Okay,
this is so frustrating because I can't just.
Let's go to Prime.
This is you. Do you work there? Are you in the office? How do you even know who's there? You don't even know who's in the office.
Hold on, Pentuple. Let Prime go.
Let Prime go as well. Pentuple. But thanks. So what I believe Pentuple is trying to get at, he's talking about indirect costs, right? So we have funding grants that we send through the National Institute of Health. We send them out to universities and organizations that do various like research. Basically these grants are proportioned so that a portion that goes to like direct costs, like in terms of, hey, I'm the scientist doing the experiment, right? And then here's me like buying the equipment. That's a direct cost, right? And maybe finding research participants, right? That's split versus indirect costs, right? What he's been calling administrative costs. And these may be like the administrator who like is like the boss of these individuals, right? All the scientists, and who manages all the research projects, right? Who manages the laboratory, right? So maintaining the laboratory. Now this is important. So what happened was, so everyone's on the same page, is that Trump capped it at a 15% indirect cost that could be apportioned. Previously, these things were depending on the organization, they negotiate their own costs. And bigger research institutions had bigger indirect costs. So sometimes you would have, and I think Pentuple might have brought that up, is that half of the money might have gone to administrative costs. Now you might say, oh my God, this is just too much, right? We want more of the money going to the actual research, right? And that's understandable. However, what this does, right, like because they have such a generous amount of money going to administrative costs, it allows them to do lots of other things. It ends up subsidizing all kinds of research, either research they're doing directly for the government or for other institutions, right? When we have these universities, let's say, right, who get these grants with this amount of indirect costs, that allows them to expand their horizons. Maybe again for government work, for cancer, for anything, right? For anything you might be wanting to do. So
I like the filibustering, but can we get to the point?
Hold on, Gibbs, shut the fuck up, right? Hold on,
that wasn't Gibbs, that was me.
I know all white people look the same, but that was Grid.
And then Grid, I know Grid and I have the same beard length. You know what I'm saying, Brian? Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, so
he's just it's a habit from his show. He's always telling me.
Hold on, but like people don't actually know because we just started talking about this stuff.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Prime. I'll let him finish. And then Grid, you can.
I'm just about done.
Go ahead.
I'm just about
done. You're good, Prime.
Calm the fuck down. But my point is that reducing these costs has knock-on effects, not just for the government work done by these institutions, but by other institutions, small institutions who don't get this amount of grants, but like contract their work out. Like all of this gets reduced, or maybe doesn't even happen if these administrative costs aren't covered, right? So it sounds good at first, right? Saying, oh, we're going to give more money to the research in itself, right? But it has big consequences. So that's what we're talking about. Done.
All right, let's go to Grid here, and then we're gonna go Tyler, then Charlie. No, then Wick, then
Charlie. Thank God Amelia Earhart finally landed that fucking plane.
I appreciate.
Where do I start? All right, so first, I don't want a doctor, a cancer research doctor, overseeing a budget. That's the most absurd thing that anyone could possibly have said. And I'm not talking about you, Prime. I'm talking about Charlie, I believe it was talking about how Elon's not a doctor. Well, actually, he is a doctor. He's just not a doctor of medicine. And besides that, he's an efficiency guy, and that's what we want. We want an efficiency guy finding the efficiency and spending our money wisely, as any proper citizen should. I want my government at its most efficient. I don't like bloat. I don't want wasted dollars for every single stupid cause. Cancer research has been going on since I was 4 years old. That's like 50 fucking years ago. So why can't we just 30 million after the trillions of dollars spent on it? I'm okay with making it more efficient. I'm okay with actually reducing the amount of separate people working on it down to a select few that are actually making progress and not soaking the American taxpayer out of his fucking money. But it's okay. I understand. Sometimes, somebody comes out of left field and hits a home run. So cool. Let's just, but the cancer thing. Come on, Wick.
Hold on.
Come on.
Okay, so first of all,
I'll let him respond,
trillions.
And then we're going to go to Tyler. Go ahead, Wick.
Okay, so trillions spent on cancer research. I'll give you some stats here. So it's from 2016 to 2020.
50 years?
Well, I'm talking globally, right? I'm talking globally. So not just the United States. We're talking globally. It's been 24 billion globally for the last 4 years. So trillions? Really? That's just not happening. Second of all, first of all, you're just fucking wrong. Second of all, and here's the second reason you're wrong. There is a reason you want someone who actually knows about research, who knows about the field, to oversee something and figure out, is this thing that they are doing actually effective? And the only person who would be able to tell you that is someone who is familiar with cancer research or research in general, or has a degree in the field, which Elon does not. His efficiency shit what part of being efficient is having the right amount of money going to the right place. And the only way you know that's the right place is if you have someone who is familiar with the topic. That's why it's very important when he's going through these things that they look through and they have people who are knowledgeable in these fields. Thirdly, I should say, right, is that's not how Doge has been doing it. They canceled a program about on trans mice because they didn't know the difference between, they thought it was transgender mice. It wasn't. It was another word that started with trans, but their little program, they just typed in trans and all of a sudden they canceled all those things. It's the reason why they fired a bunch of fucking nuclear the people in charge of the nuclear codes had to rehire them because the program they're using to find these programs,
I actually support the trans mice studies.
Okay, hold on. All right, that's fair. I'm gonna let Grid respond real quick. Two sentence response, but then I'm gonna go to Tyler, and then I'm
gonna thank you.
Then we're gonna go to Charlie.
Can I jump in? Let everyone.
No, elbow your way in. Don't let him talk. You go, Charlie.
That's fine.
No, don't worry about it.
I'll take order if I have to.
I don't think that Elon Musk is a good businessman. Hasn't the government had to subsidize his
billion
like a gazillion times?
He's just on paper. I don't think Shohei Ohtani is good at baseball.
I don't think he's
things
good
into this.
Hold on.
In the past, since 2016 till now, that's the number you want to give me for cancer research?
Okay, show me where trillions, which you said has been spent on cancer research.
Bro, that was a point he was making beyond the point.
I want to go to Tyler.
The point being made, Wick, is that when you scoff at the idea of one cancer research program being pulled, as if that's all of cancer research is like a whole field. Like you're acting like we there's no cancer research left. Like that's obviously not true. Why are you pitching it to people to like make them panic? Like we're not researching cancer anymore.
Let me just jump in here, guys.
That's all it is.
I'm actually gonna say my thing before I go to Tyler. I don't know if y'all noticed the article I put in there earlier, because it seems like we're talking about the cancer research, and Temple's kind of alluding to something I would like to talk about a little bit. I posted an article in there just to give a little framing. We talked about it, I think, on Primes a little bit on Monday, but it's basically they found a facility here in San Antonio where I live, which is a left-leaning city, and they were getting paid $18 mil a month to the tune of over $1 billion since 2001, and they've never used it. And it's like a migrant overflow facility that's never been used. And this now it locally has bipartisan support as like clear waste. And a lot of the people on the right are framing Doge in the efficiency direction as this is something that like we should all be looking forward to, as opposed to just like, I know there's specific things.
Sorry, where is this?
This is Sam telling you. I posted it in the group chat that you're in.
Okay.
Oh,
If you
okay,
can't
gotcha.
see it,
Thank you.
I can repost it. Yeah. So basically, locally, it's got bipartisan support for like getting rid of this facility because it seems like wasteful, and there's questions about why this nonprofit is posting record profits. It's kind of weird. But I'm only bringing that up because that seems like a general example of government waste that, in theory, those should be cutting. I know that we're opposed to like the cancer stuff, or are we mad just because of the specific items, or are we mad because Elon Musk overall is running it? What's the reasons and all that? I'm gonna let y'all like think about that response. I'm gonna go to Charlie first after we go to Tyler. So let Tyler finish, guys, because he hasn't spoken. Then we'll go to Charlie, and then I'll open it up. And it looks like Prime's gonna stand up. We'll go from there. Go ahead, Tyler, and then Charlie.
Okay, because I am as empathetic as I am wise and correct all the time, I will bestow knowledge upon all of you. Now, Gibbs thinks that I'm a Trump person because what I do is dispel hyperbole with fact. It just so happens right now that the people that are using more hyperbole and more removed from factual reality are the people that lost the election. Tends to be that way. Before it was the GOP, now it's the Democrats. I have no problem with either one. So looking at the stock market, when we were talking about the stock market crashing, and it was just briefly brought up by Charlie, and I doubt she went too much by it, but that's just looking at this day-to-day news cycle and not any historical context. The stock market's been rocky for about 3 years, and if you look, it's back up today, almost 30% of the losses we saw in that small 3-day dip. So boom, knowledge. Moving into what Wick was saying about he was somewhat gish-galloping, listing off a couple examples. One of them was Ukraine, Trump making us look weak. Going into the context of that, if you look at it, Trump is giving certain concessions to Russia, kind of placating them.
He cut off all intelligence sharing with Ukraine today, and he paused all aid.
Sorts of things like that. Yeah.
For Ukraine to use their own damn weapons
I understand.
to target enemy soldiers in Russia, he cut off their ability to do that.
Yeah, I understand that. He's making certain concessions to Russia, showing we're serious. When the Biden administration, before the war,
showing we're serious.
Before the war started, there were
hold on, wait. I know that you're upset. Go ahead.
So there's a lot of shit that being said. I'm hitting everybody here. So going into Ukraine, when Biden was trying to dispel that before the war started, he went into Ukraine. He stopped selling them lethal weapons. He approved their pipeline that Trump had sanctioned at the time, and give them all sorts of concessions to try to talk them out of war. This is similar to that, where Trump's going in, trying to sue for peace and give them concessions. Say, look, we're actually being a little tough on Ukraine, and we're being a little lighter on you. We're not the last administration. That's perfectly fine for a new administration to do that, and nobody accused Biden of placating Russia when he did these things to sue for peace as well. If you take a step back and look at the historical context, you might disagree with some of the individual actions, but really what he's doing generally is fine.
There's a huge difference between trying to get a country like Russia not to invade, and then once they have invaded, cutting off aid and stabbing your ally in the back, which is what we are doing to Ukraine. Putin has made zero concessions. Putin is getting everything he wants. Everything. He has given us nothing, and we have bent over. Right? We've unzipped Putin's fly, and now we're gawk 5,000 on his fucking knob. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, for no reason. We are getting nothing.
2017 called. They want their talking points.
Let's go to Charlie here. I like that one. I saw her nodding her head. Do you agree with the gawk 5,000 on Putin take?
I do. First of all, as a queer. I don't find that offensive, the gawk 5,000, because that is precisely what's happening.
Well, as a straight, I do.
Because so
no, we don't have something for
there's a lot that we covered. Where were we on? Goodness. Okay, on the. Are we moving past the cancer research stuff?
Oh yeah, we could. I was talking about the government spending in general with the Doge because in relation to that. But yeah, we covered a lot right there. So just pick up where you want to.
I got a little cancer stuff, so we can circle back to it if you want to.
I suppose with goodness gracious.
Yeah, just go from where you want to.
Yeah. Okay. With the budget, I don't think that we need to run the government like a business, because the point isn't to make profit. And
thank you for the $2. The idea Zach of, says 2017
privatize.
If
we privatize these things, it's going to be just as expensive. The bureaucracy, I don't see how there's going to be any meaningful change made in government waste or spending. I largely feel that this is I suppose this is a broad stroke, but I do think that this is mostly to cover more billionaire tax breaks for Musk, And I also think that this is a way for Musk and other billionaires to take over former government entities and privatize them and make big money, like SpaceX and shit. My God, on to Ukraine. I think it's crazy that we are kind of like losing the Cold War 30 years after
marching.
I don't know why we are ceding.
Just write like down. We'll come back. I got a lot to go on. Sorry, Charlie. I'll let you go ahead in a second. Just guys, I know we've been a lot of stuff covered. Just write notes, and then if you have objections, we'll come back. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, my God, I might have to go get a pen and fucking paper. I'll be honest with you. Have I followed Ukraine, Russia, extensively? No, but I do know that Ukraine is land that Russia wants. Ukraine also has a lot of natural resources, and we as a country, the US, benefit from Ukraine not belonging to Russia and also not really ceding any ground to them, because I don't think that, as far as I know, didn't they have like a peace treaty, and didn't Russia violate it again? Like
25 times.
I'm sure Wick is going to elaborate on all that.
25
Every
times. Okay,
25 breaking of ceasefire deals. He broke the Minsk 1. He broke Minsk 2. He's never honored a ceasefire deal. Well, I won't say never, but 25 times he's broken it with Ukraine specifically. It's just, it's crazy that we trust him not to break it again. I just don't understand.
I don't understand.
Nothing ever changes, ever. No variables change.
Why are we trusting Vladimir Putin? I don't understand. I don't think that Russia is the world power that, we should be ceding power to. I feel like our soft power is just going to, and our hard power is just going to, anyway. Let me go get a fucking pen and paper, because I'm going to need that.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go to while you do that, let's go to
okay.
Couple, then we're going to go to Prime, and then we're going to go to Grid.
So
and then we'll go back to
I agree in spirit with what Charlie started at the beginning there, as I was writing down. We aren't running the government like a business for profit. Am I unmuted? Yeah. But it does have to be sustainable. And so it's I agree with you. The government's not a business. We're not running it to try to make a profit, but that doesn't mean that we can run it in a way that's unsustainable, because by definition, that we can't sustain that. And we're at a point now where we're $30+ trillion in debt. I think everyone would agree we're at least getting closer to the point of unsustainability. I don't know, maybe like in 50 years, we're just like the debt's 150 trillion. Maybe we're not near collapse or anything, but like, I think people know that what is going on right now is not sustainable. And that's more like why it might feel like the same direction is like, oh, we have to treat it like a business. It's not necessarily treating it like a business to pursue like a profit motive, but it is treating it like a business in the sense that like it does need to be sustainable. If this isn't sustainable, we're just going to be continuing down this path that has gotten us this far into debt. So like, I agree with you in spirit, but I think at the same time, it doesn't mean that we don't have to account for sustainability in nearly every single government program that we do.
All right, Prime.
I disagree about the government being unsustainable. Even at $37 trillion of debt, it sounds very big to people. So like with our ordinary like human brains, our normal sized budgets, but it's not, right? Like most of that debt is debt to ourselves. That debt doesn't get called in all at once. It goes to funding things that we actually need. As long as that debt's being put to something useful, then it's fine. But I can go into that in greater detail at some other time. However, our friend Gibbs, though, was telling us about this facility, right? So there's this facility in San Antonio. Now, like you brought it up on Monday, Gibbs, but you didn't send a link at the time. Thank you for saying it now. But actually looking at this thing, right? Okay, so it was an $18 million contract to house like migrant children. And like it was sitting empty. And so Doge comes in and says, oh, well, we're cutting it, right? And this is framed as waste, right? But it's not. It's actually quite simple. First of all, there's no bipartisan support for it to be closed, right? I haven't seen that at all, but maybe you can give me a link to show that. But like what they were doing really basically, they were holding capacity for the government. Because in Texas, right, they have a lot of migrants. They don't know when the migrant flows go up or where they go down, right? Currently, they're lower, right? And so this facility wasn't currently being used. But when they needed to scale it up, that's what happened. If you remember previously, right? Like I'm sure Gibbs will know this, right? If you remember previously, we had there were so many migrants coming through, right? We had no place to put them. We're making makeshift shelters. We were putting them under bridges in Texas, right? Just like literally under bridges. The reason why they were holding this facility was when there's a huge migrant inflow and they can scale up immediately. That makes sense. So that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. Once again, I don't trust anything Doge says about actual corroboration. I'm done.
Thank you. Before we go to Grid, I do want our last panelist finally has arrived. A good friend of mine. We have iCal Rich. He's a state championship winning debate coach here. So I'm excited to have him. Tell us who you are, what you do, real quick, and then I don't know if you're caught up to speed, but we'll go.
I'm just a debate coach out of Texas. That's pretty much it. That's it. That's just what I do. Mostly high school. Although, like in the last year or two, I've added other age groups, which has been a fun challenge for me. But yeah. That's it.
All right. Yeah. Have you been able to listen? Are you aware? You know where we're at, or do you just you want to just?
No, I just got here. I class loaded.
Okay, cool. Currently we're talking about government efficiency of
Can we talk about Ukraine more?
Foreign policy. Yeah, let's do that. Because I think they are directly tied together. With the soft power and the foreign power.
At some point.
So, what was your? I'm sorry.
You want to respond to what I said about the bullshit?
The reason why, I will expound. I was trying to just be moderate, but the reason why I picked this kind of one is because it's a local issue being covered pretty extensively locally, right? And two, I think it'd be fun to go over there and maybe do some investigative reporting and try this out. But I find it interesting here that at the local level, which I live in a very left-leaning city. I live in San Antonio, right? It's one of the most left-leaning cities in Texas. There seems to be pretty broad bipartisan support calling this suspicious government waste because this company, Family Endeavors, it's supposed to be nonprofit.
That?
I wasn't ready really to dive into this super in depth, but I can if we would like to a little later. But the point I'm bringing is because at least on the local level, when I'm talking about this, it seems interesting to me because it has bipartisan support. They both seem to be saying it's waste. And I'm not saying maybe there's not more to this, Prime. Like, we can look into it and I can get you the info. We can dive into it. But I guess the idea to me is more interesting in this sense of, I personally think that as bloated as the government is, just like I like businesses that get too big, there probably are either corruption or not corruption, just bloat or inefficiencies. And sometimes you just need to go in there and trim the hedges for the good of everybody. And I think a lot of people can get behind that on both sides. However, it seems because Doge is the one doing it, and it's Elon Musk specifically, it seems anything that's potentially found is tainted, right? And that's kind of where I wanted to go with this a little bit, if that makes sense. Is that cool with you, Prime? I know you wanted to more.
Other people want to move to you.
Yeah,
we can talk.
No, we could. I want to mention this just real quick, right? Because that's important.
Go ahead.
I don't mind an audit, and I don't mind trimming the hedges, so to speak. But you are correct that everything Doge is doing is tainted, is because they keep fucking up. They're doing it a bad job. They keep making mistakes. They keep making, with their savings wall. They said, we found 8 billion of savings, but then they had to correct it to 8 million, right? And that happens over and over again. They keep firing people and then having to, rehire them because they fucking did it wrong. Like, if we want to do this, it has to be done at a better level than Doge is doing it. We have a competency crisis in Washington, and Elon Musk and Trump are at the head. Okay, sorry.
Well, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do real quick, just to get ordered. I'm going to go to Grid, let him respond. But also in your response, Grid, I know iCal is going to wants to talk Ukraine and soft power and how Doge is tied to that with you. So I'm going to go to you, Grid, and then I'm going to go to iCal and then to let him get in. Then we'll go to Wick, and then Charlie and Tyler to double week. Just go from
Can
there.
I just get an addendum before we move on, just very quickly?
Sure.
Just to quickly answer your question and tie on to my friend Wick here. So I agree with everything he just said, but my larger problem is that we actually have a process for dealing with these, with cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, right? We already have that in place. We have inspector generals that usually bring these things to light, or through the news, right? And then we have a Congress that's supposed to debate and pass laws and to cut funding to things that aren't of use to the American people. That's the process. And what is happening now is they're doing an end run around Congress, which they're happy to have, because then they can cut things like Social Security without Congress ever taking a vote and then having to face their people saying, oh, yeah, I cut Social Security. It's bullshit. Let's actually go through the proper process. Done.
All right, let's go to Grid, and then we're going to go to iCal, let him get a word in, and then we'll go to Charlie and Wick. Go ahead. And then Tyler.
Yeah, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Listen, first of all, amount of absurdity is awesome tonight. I love it. So, and I'm just going to pick one of the massive amount of things you covered in that rambling, nonsensical speech, I guess it was, Charlie. But so Elon Musk owned SpaceX. It was never a government agency. He didn't privatize anything. If anything, the government is happy to have SpaceX doing.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I said that I think that that's a goal.
Yes. Why would he do that?
Money. Power. Why wouldn't he? That's crazy.
Wait, what?
I guess let me frame this. Let me just make sure I understand the question.
Literally the richest man in the world can literally do whatever he wants.
Yes.
He can
just to frame it for the question. I think that's an interesting question, Grant. Let me ask this real quick. So, like, I as a concern, I tend to agree with you. He's the richest man in the world. He probably doesn't need more power. I think he's maybe doing it for like hopefully good reasons. Now, to Charlie's point though, if you're that kind of person, you're the richest man in the world, like there's never a limit on how much power you're gonna want. So like that seems like something that would be a good motivator to them. I think y'all have heard me before. I'm all about that kind of thing personally. I like the idea of like being a whatever. Now, Grit, how would you object to something like that though? I know because that doesn't seem to be your thing.
Did you not see him tell Disney to go fuck themselves?
Sure. I mean
live, literally said.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with Elon Musk potentially abusing his power?
It shows that he's not purely like profit driven and motive driven. Like he's willing to take the hits for what he believes in. And I think that's pretty clear. But it's just clear to the point that he's not just like this money hungry, power driven guy. He does have
power by going
that
against Disney. That's it.
Elon Musk has literally stated that he wants to become
which way. Look.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys aren't the biggest Elon Musk fans. I don't know why you guys think you would have the most credibility on what he's like.
None of us do.
The people who watch him do, obviously, have a little more credibility than the people who don't.
Let's go back to Grid. Let him finish. Let's go back to Grid. Let him finish.
I gotta ask you, bro. I gotta ask you, man, because this happened. You said something that was very enlightening to me, that you actually do think that there's waste in the government and cuts should be made.
Yes.
Where?
Well, I think that we spend far too much on programs like Doge. Doge is something we could cut right away.
Okay, but that's dumb.
The white flag has been waved.
Wait, I have an example.
Give me something real.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Hold on.
Healthcare. Do you think there's wastefulness in healthcare?
Yes, I think there's waste in the healthcare system. I think there's waste in Social Security. I think there's waste in all these things. The fact that they find some waste isn't surprising to me. The government program, there's always going to be some waste. But my issue with Doge specifically is I don't trust those motherfuckers.
Well, they don't trust you either.
They're not making the final decisions, Wick. They are an advisory board that provides data. They give access to data. That's why you can have these 19-year-old kids that run it with AI, because all it is data. All it is data. And it's saying, here, look, money going to the wrong places. Money that's not even being signed off. We don't even know where it's going.
I don't trust their data, bro.
Okay, hold on.
The point is, you're like, oh, they're firing people that have to be rehired. It's called closing a department, and they go to somewhere else because we're restructuring the government.
And that's not how you
would you possibly know what's going on? You are not there. You are reading in so much. Leftists do this all the time, where they just pretend like they're there. They're in the building. They know what Doge is doing.
You're not there either. You're not there either.
You're the one making claims like, oh, they're making all these mistakes. They're doing all this dumb stuff. You have no idea how the process works because you don't work there. You're pretending that you do. See, why are you pretending you do? I'm not pretending I do. Yes, you do. But you have no credibility when you treat it like you do. You're acting like you know.
Doing the same thing.
This reminds me of my family Christmas.
I like the guy.
Stop. Okay, everybody's good. Sorry, guys. I like no hard feelings, but I want to reframe this because I wanted to ask something, and then y'all just took off the races. God damn it! But it was good. Hey, let me. All right.
Sorry for calling you bitch. It's just a. I hang out with a lot of gays. So bitch and girl kind of
do it more and louder. Use a hard beat.
No hard feelings for me. No hard feelings. I'm very cool.
He's really into abuse. You know what I'm saying? He's an abuse guy. No, Wick. I want to.
Wick? Okay.
Before we got
lost. I'm here for the clips.
Before we got lost, let me ask you a question, right? So you say it's because you don't trust them.
Yes.
All right. just to frame this, like, how do you argue that to, like, say someone like me, right? I have sat here for the last like 16 to 20 years going, I don't trust what the fuck's going on. It's about time we got somebody else in here. What do you argue? Like, how do you like frame that to them as opposed to like, okay, cool, now you know how we felt.
Not
like,
trusting, I get you. Not trusting the government is always wise, right? Like, but never trusting the government is also foolish. And when you see an entity, right, come in and they keep messing up, and they've only existed for like what, 30 days, 60 days, and they keep making mistake after mistake, and then they purposefully and with intent misrepresent the data that they're gathering to you, which Elon has done multiple times.
Ooh, now you're assigning intent? So this is what I mean by saying you guys pretend like you work there, like you know these people. Well, you have no credibility to say shit like that. It's insane. It's so discrediting. This is why your party's lost so much in the last 8 years.
Those who work within Doge, and I use that information and I make inferences
right.
that information.
You might as well be there, bro. You might as well be there, dog.
Here's the thing. This is my argument to someone like Gibbs. Let me finish answering you, right? So someone like Gibbs, who doesn't trust the government, thinks there's plenty of ways. I'm with you. I think that too. I think we need a better process in place, absolutely. But we have that process. We just haven't been following it. And much like Prime said, Prime Kai was very wise when he said this. We have in the Constitution, right, checks and balances, assignment of powers. The Congress has the power of the purse. And if we find
official acts,
if we find different programs that we think are fraud, waste, abuse, whatever, Congress is the one that should be taking away those fundings. That's the process we're doing. But Doge is trying to...
So what happens when Congress is getting kickbacks from it? What happens when congressmen are worth hundreds of millions of dollars as a result of this?
Congressmen.
Hold on.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, great answer. Great answer.
Hold on. Everybody calm down. I'm going to let y'all rant. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go to Charlie. Hold on 1 second. Write it down. I'm going to go to Charlie. She's going to talk. Then we're going to go to Tyler because he hasn't talked in like 30 minutes. And then, before anybody says anything else, nobody else says anything, let her talk to their end. Then let Tyler talk to the end. And then we're going to let Iko say whatever because he hasn't said anything yet. And I want to hear his opinion. And then we'll turn it loose again. All right, go ahead, Charlie.
Okay, so just 2 quick points. Pentuples, you were talking about, government debt. And I agree, it's not great that we have a lot of federal debt. However, I don't think that, cutting taxes for billionaires is a great way of resolving that debt. I think that we would actually be able to do quite a bit if Trump hadn't, in resolving that debt, if Trump hadn't cut taxes to billionaires. 2, if we want to talk about government waste, 2 prime examples, I think, is excessive funding to the military to the point that I believe sometimes they have to fly their jets just to spend their fuel money.
That's a legal requirement.
All right. Well, I think that the military, it's bloated. It's bloated. Okay. I know people, many people in the military, and a lot of the time, a lot of our soldiers are.
In your case, that the military is bloated.
Well, hold on, Grit. Is that mutually exclusive though? That I'm pro funding more for the military, but I also think it's bloated. I think that there needs to be someone to go in there and clean out the fact.
Raise your hand if you served in the military.
Wait, second point.
Raise your hand if you served in the military.
Let Charlie finish.
Health insurance subsidies are extremely expensive. Universal single payer healthcare would actually be less expensive. So, but Elon's not talking about that. He's not going after health insurance companies and working towards anything like that. So he's going after shit like cancer research.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Tyler.
For starving children.
Yep. Okay, so
I'm gonna go to Tyler, then ICAL, and then Pentupple. You can rage for a moment, and then we'll go to the rest of the people. Prime and Wit.
Just making sure my voice box still works after all that fucking waiting. So I'm looking over these arguments. I have no.
You're good at note taking, so I have faith in you. All right.
Yeah. I got you. So looking over, I have no comment on Elon trying to read Elon's mind like you guys are doing. That's a little silly of an argument to me. When you guys started screaming, it reminded me of my family Christmas, and it's kind of coincidental because we have 2 Santas in here right now with us. So going into what Gibbs was asking about Doge, a lot of what we're arguing about is the mandatory spending. When Doge already right now is only going to discretionary spending, they are currently inside the Defense Department looking at the military right now. So all this spending that they are able to look at in terms of what you guys are talking about, they're currently doing. So that's in a way a good thing. Now, what we see with Doge is Doge and the president's administration are doing a lot of things like freezing things and whatnot. They're moving a lot faster than administrations generally have. They hit the ground running. They got their people right into place. They started doing all their changes to the administration day one, where sometimes these things take months to roll out. So what we're seeing is a lot, but we're also seeing a lot of mistakes, and we're also seeing a lot of challenges. Some of these challenges that are being presented are the same things that Biden had to go through when he was trying to implement his people. Not nearly as many per capita, but again, they're not moving as fast, so they're not going to make as many errors. Looking at the USAID ruling from Judge Ali, what that said about Doge is it wasn't making an error in terms of what they were doing at USAID. What they were doing is making an error in terms of their sweeping cutting of the entire department. They had to go case by case. So a bunch of people that didn't know anything about law were screaming that we had a constitutional crisis incorrectly, when in reality, all they were doing was adhering to the judge's order to go case by case, and they continued cutting from USAID. The judge said, "What the hell? I expected you to reinstitute it." And they said, "No, we just stopped doing this sweeping thing you said we weren't allowed to do." That's when the Supreme Court stepped in and said, "You have to fund projects we've already done and just pay for everything we've already done." And that's the end of it. So they were technically right.
All right, iCal.
Okay, so let me just
go ahead. Nobody interrupt iCal. All right, let him get his thing in.
Yeah, there's just four things I need to respond to, but I guess I can only respond to three now because one of them got taken care of there, which was the SCOTUS thing, which I wanted to remind everybody of that just happened, which I think is a big deal. But the first thing is the Family Endeavors overflow facility. I agree with what Prime said about we have to have it ready for when we do need it. But the other thing is, if you want to compare that in terms of expense, $18 million a month is what we were paying for that facility. It had 3,000 beds, enough to house 3,000 people. That's a total cost of $6,000 per bed per month. Okay. Guantanamo Bay has only 120 beds, and we pay $45 million a month to maintain that for those 120 beds. So instead of $6,000 per bed, we're paying $375,000 per bed. Okay, so over $1 million for just 3 beds every month that we pay for that facility. So we're talking about 20 times the expense of this Family Endeavors thing. And we've been trying to shut down, this is waste, fraud, and abuse that's happening despite 2 presidents now trying to shut it down, but Congress wouldn't let it happen because they feel like we need to keep wasting this money and virtually getting nothing out of it. Okay, that's number one. Number two is one of the things that Doge just did was basically without Congress being involved, essentially repeal the PACT Act. So all that stuff that we did for veterans that got passed is statutory. Doge just cut it as if that was a line item that the executive branch could do. And Doge isn't even the executive branch. It's just some dudes that were picked by Elon who wasn't elected. But 80,000 jobs at the VA were just cut as part of that. That's a horrifying thing. If you know and care about veterans, to have that facility taken away from them without any statutory oversight at all. I mean,
I have never talked to a veteran who likes the VA in my life.
Hold on, because I got finished.
Background was incredibly important. I used to work for the VA. My stepfather's a veteran. My grandfather's a veteran.
Yeah, well, guess what? Most veterans hate the VA.
Yeah, I know they fucking hate the VA. I don't like the VA.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Why did they hate the VA?
We have a veteran on the panel. We have a veteran on the panel we can go to.
Veterans hate the fact that resources at the VA are being kept from them. Yeah. So taking those resources away from the VA without replacing them
is
the big problem here. It's sort of like saying, I can't believe you're underpaying me, so go ahead and cut my salary in half, and that solves everything. No, that's ridiculous.
No, it's more like, hey, we're going to get you into a new department. You're going to be working over across the aisle now. You're going to have a brand new job and new pay.
Let him finish. He's got a couple more points.
That's in the military. How about the fact that We produce all these tanks. People talk about us giving tanks to Ukraine. They're tanks that we've sat on for decades, and then we're finally about to get scrapped, and so we give them to Ukraine. But we're continually making new tanks that the Pentagon keeps saying that it doesn't need for its own usage. They've been complaining about it for decades, actually, and we don't use them because it's not the way that the United States fights warfare. We'd be better off just giving it away to a country that needs it. I have a country in mind for that, but I guess we'll talk about that later. But yeah, there are ways in which we're wasting that money continuously, and we can look at those things, right? But yeah, taking resources away from veterans is not the way to do it.
All right, thank you so much. I want to go to Wick since he's a VA guy. Then we're going to go to Pit Temple since I know he's got a bunch of objections, and then we'll go to Pride, and then
first
we'll
I'll first
I'm
address.
listening, but I got to step away for a minute.
Yeah, the first thing on the VA, yes, the amount of red tape, bureaucracy, and the difficulty to actually get seen and actually get good care. That's the problem with the VA, right? What we need for the VA is better administrators. We have shit administrators, and we have shit allocation of resources. It's just bad. You're right. I hate the VA. I don't like the VA. But it's not because of the solution to that, I should say, is not to take away its funding. It's simply to make it better, right? To make it more like private healthcare. But here's also what I wanted to say, and this is breaking news, okay? Breaking news that I just found out. Trump is reportedly lifting sanctions on Russia.
Interesting.
What the fuck, gang? Trump's surrender to Putin proceeds apace. Okay, this is reportedly. Okay, this is reportedly by Reuters and the Kiev Independent. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Damn. What are we doing? Why are we surrendering? In the war between Russia and Ukraine, America was the first to surrender.
We're not surrendering. We're not at war with Russia.
I mean, proxy war. We're in a proxy war.
I just wanted to challenge the progressives on the panel. Why are you guys so resistant to change in the VA, the way it works? We know how horrible it is. Why have the progressives become so resistant to change? I thought you guys were all about making change in the future and the way, like, it's good for the next 100 years. It's going to be this way.
I worked for the VA. I worked for the VA in a disability clinic. The issue with the VA is that there's so few clinics and so few medical staff. People will wait months and months and months to be. No, dude, it's literally a lack of. People would drive an hour to our fucking clinic to be seen by our doctors. There's a lack of, available at least I worked for a disability clinic, like disability testing clinics. There's a lack of like medical professionals. We literally had to like dig our claws into our fucking doctors and be like, please do not quit. Please, we need you. These people fucking need you. Like it's fucking desperate, dude. It's like there's not enough. It's bad. And the PACT Act was huge for so many fucking veterans. Like the way it expanded like how, what was considered a disability. It got a lot of people who did my God, what is it called? Tire fires, pit burnings, like the Desert Storm.
Yeah,
there's
the
a specific
burn
term
pits,
for the
the
burn
and things
pits.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which my stepfather, that is now a part of his veterans disability stuff, is because he was around the fucking burn pits and his lungs don't fucking work anymore. That's cutting the PACT Act is fucking brutal, and I also think it's very stupid, in my opinion, to make a population that is already fairly disenfranchised, has a lot of mental health issues, and is combat trained. I think fucking them over is like a bad move. In my opinion, not the people that I would fuck over.
Do you think that most vets see this as a bad thing?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
So
because the vets in my chat are going, "Fuck yeah, dude."
With the what? The VA
they want less. They want less disability clinics.
Getting
they
rid
want
of
less
admin.
access.
Literally, I'll read you some. You want me to read you some?
They're not getting rid of admin. They're not getting rid of admin.
Well, hold on. I want to ask one thing. Maybe just framing. I posted an article now and in the thing. And it's talking about like a VA sex scandal, which looks like some government funds went to. Like when I see stuff like this, personally, I see waste. Are y'all arguing that the VA can't be made more efficient? On the left, is that what y'all are arguing?
So,
like, what are y'all's like solution?
I'll like as kind of goes with what I was going to say. So
sure,
like,
fine, go ahead.
Was it a Penn Temple? Sorry, I keep forgetting your name. I apologize. But he was saying, hey, like you progressives, right? Like you are all about change, you're all about reform. Why are you so resistant here, right? So I personally not. I don't have any loyalty to the VA, right? It's a government agency. I hear mixed things about it. I hear that the actual healthcare, when the veterans can get the healthcare, is actually top class, right? But the problem is that it's so hard.
Waiting lists and stuff are shit. But
yeah. So if you wanted to, if Penn Temple, maybe your plan, right? Maybe what you'd like to do is to close the VA altogether, right? Maybe reform it into some new agency that has a similar mission. I'd be for that, but I haven't heard that plan. Right? Have you seen that plan? Maybe I've missed it. Right?
No, but you just identified that the plan could exist. So, like,
I identified that a plan. Yes, there could be concept of a plan,
and that plan would be better.
Hold on. Yes, but we don't have.
You just said it. So what's the question? I have to come up with it myself to make the point. What the fuck?
And you can understand because you asked the question, trying to answer the question, right? My problem is
you just lecture with no credibility. I don't get it.
Shut up for a second. Just. Okay, so my problem is that there is no there's no presented plan, right? If Trump had that plan, right, and let's say Trump is brilliant and it'd be a good plan, well then I can examine that and I can see if I support that. Are you going to make things better for our veterans? Okay, but if you're just cutting it, right, and not actually doing the reforms, if you're just cutting it, that'll simply make what is a bad or poor agency worse, and I don't want that for our veterans.
Sure, yeah, I agree. We definitely have to, like, we can't just eliminate it and not do anything else. It's gonna come with like adjusting the way that the system works for the military and the veterans. Like, I'm 100%. But like you just said, that plan, the concept exists. So like I don't have it. I'm not going to be the one who makes it. I'm just saying that's the pursuit that we should go. That's how this works. Like, I don't.
Are you sure? But
every conversation is like this. None of us are writing the legislation for the things we argue.
On the thought that there is another plan, right? But again, we don't have that plan. We don't know.
No, but you agreed that there is obviously a plan that could be better than what we have right now, which is what drives the pursuit of trying to bring reform. Yeah,
hypothetically, we can have a better.
But you're saying I'm dying. You're saying I'm dying on this hill until you have something I know is way better. But it's like that's like okay.
Okay, something very simple. I'm asking you, hey, like
right,
have the plan.
I'm not going to be the one who makes that ever. I'm never going to be the one who writes the reform for VA.
Before you burn your house down, it's helpful to have the house that you're going to move back into in place.
I agree. I agree.
Can I actually about the story that was shared?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, about the story that was shared. Go ahead.
So actually, the reason that I quit my job at the VA was that one of the physician's assistants that we were desperately keeping our hooks in started hitting on me through our team chats and would not leave me alone. And I knew that if I brought this to HR, I would be the one let go because we did not have the resources necessary to hire more medical professionals.
Wait, just to ask, like, because now I'm curious. Like, are you saying this is like actually like a predominant like culture issue, like, or is it because of like resources?
Well, what I'm saying is that when something like the VA is extremely underfunded and you need to keep your claws in specific people so that veterans can get the care that they need, like, I left because I knew that person that they could not fucking replace him, but they could replace me. So I think you're going to get weird sex crazy things happening because you're putting people in positions of power that they could abuse. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It does.
No, it's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, Admiral, please explain that to the rest of us. Translate.
Yeah, how did that make sense, brother? Make sense.
Okay, so like, all right, I guess. I'll maybe try to translate to like conservative counterparts. The argument would be, say you're like, say I owned a restaurant and I had employees that they were shitty, but I was in a small area with not very many people I could hire. So I would have to retain shitty employees. And if someone complained, they'd be the one let go because I can't afford to lose the other ones because I don't have the funding or the resources to get the replacements. Is that a fair paraphrasing? Charlie, or
thank you. Yes, that's correct.
Analogy.
So if you further underfund it, you're going to get even more fucking weird orgies or weirder things happening because you are putting people in positions where they are like fucking invaluable.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, Charlie. I don't know.
That's illegal.
Right? But it's a weird argument to make.
Sure, but
if we take away money from the Veterans Association, they're going to have orgies there.
I'm sorry, I just thought that was funny as fuck.
I'm going to tell you that if that happened, all the vets I know would vote.
So the audience understands. Yeah, someone else posted a link in our group chat talking about a sex created orgy thing.
I also posted a share chat.
Yeah, my apologies. My apologies. And it was like fucking organized through their team chats.
I could post it in your.
Can we move off of the absurdity and back into the debate portion?
Sure, go ahead, Grid.
Reframe this. Don't know how to respond to the orgy at the VA thing.
Actually, Pentuple guy has been waiting, and I keep
go ahead, Pentuple. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Pentuple. You can go, and then.
Does Pentuple have anything interesting to say?
Well, I was gonna ask. It's. I have something if we need it, but I'll pass. I don't want to. It's whatever. It was just a thing to do.
Okay, great. We can move on.
Follow. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, I don't think it was that hard to follow. I just didn't. I don't know. Maybe the relevance, like connection. But I'm not trying to be like. I'm not trying. It's fine. I'm retarded. We should let Tyler go. Probably. This is like not that interesting.
I don't know shit about the VA. I've been
sitting things to talk about. Don't worry. Go ahead. So
I understand what Charlie said, though. Just to be clear, like I get what she's trying to say, right? Is that
me too? I totally got it too.
Well, if we're talking about government waste, you're sex orgies at the VA. I'm telling you that if the government waste is sex orgies at the fucking VA, I'm telling you that cutting more funding is going to lead to more sex orgies. If that is a serious argument that someone was making, I'm just responding in kind. Thank you. I'm responding in kind.
Is that a promise? Cut the funding.
No.
Okay. Let's talk about Ukraine. How about that? Let's talk about Ukraine.
Let's talk about Ukraine. And Trump's response to Ukraine. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's my issue with Ukraine, right? And I have a question for the other side, right? So Pentuple, we'll start with you since you. Well, first of all, just as a gut check, Pentuple, do you think that the U.S. should continue to support Ukraine?
Right now, yes.
Yes. Okay. Then we're fine. Maybe I don't have a question for you. What about you, Grid?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
I was reading.
Do you think that the U.S. should continue to support Ukraine in its war against Russia?
That's a good question. See arguments both ways.
You're asking us like we're going to assume that can never change, though. I think that's the difference between us.
Sure,
is that to us that can change, and to you that can never change
for
some reason.
Today, I'm talking about today. I understand because there could be.
Yeah, I don't think we should abandon Ukraine today. I don't think we should abandon Ukraine today. No.
So fuck that guy. Fuck his whole country.
I do think we have to wrap it up and we have to force their hands to stop the meat grinder of bodies fucking dying. That's our interest.
Grid said something I want to hear.
Go ahead, Grid. Yeah, let Grid.
Can you repeat what you just said?
I said, as long as Zelensky is going to be a dick and enable the meat grinder, then fuck that guy and just, I don't want to have anything to do with, I don't want to be involved with someone like that. Why do we want to be involved with somebody that sends his own people into a meat grinder instead of coming to the peace table like an actual human fucking being?
So, do you think Zelensky does not want peace in Ukraine?
I have no idea what the fuck Zelensky wants. Can you tell me?
Sure. He wants peace in the Ukraine. He wants the war to end.
Really?
He wants Russia out of his
Really? You believe that after the way he treated Trump in the Oval Office?
Right.
Trying to slide in the slide deal with him.
Come on, buddy.
He didn't try to slide in the slide deal. What he did was he simply talked and he asked J.D. Vance a question.
Yeah, you think
Zelensky,
Zelensky knew what he was doing. He was trying to gain leverage with the president against
Putin's invasion. Because remember, Russia is invading, right? If Russia stopped fighting, the war would end. If Ukraine stopped fighting, Ukraine would cease to exist because Russia would take it over.
They're being invaded right now. I feel like that's common knowledge, is it not?
You would think, but unfortunately, I have to ask this question because there's a few people who don't think that's the case. Who think that Ukraine is extending the war for whatever reason in order to, I don't know, send people into a meat grinder. What's happening is Russia is sending wave after wave of troops. It has drained its prisons, right? It has conscripted people from North fucking Korea and is sending everything they can to try to break Ukrainian lines. Ukraine relies on outside funding for weapons, ammo, material. They are not asking for troops. They're asking for guns and bullets at this point, right?
Hey, weren't they getting troops from Britain?
No.
Let's go to ICAL.
There was
I just saw a headline. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was. I don't know what that was.
No, that's peacekeeping.
I'm sorry.
What are you talking about? Hold on. You're talking about like Britain sending peacekeeping troops. I believe. Hopefully, I'm not incorrect here.
Like peacekeeping a war?
No, hold on. Listen. Obviously, you're just reacting. This is after a peace deal has been reached, right? So if you get a security agreement, right, they'll come there to ensure the peace afterwards. So don't react immediately.
Let's go to
also, there are American troops like that are like training on people how to use the weapon systems that we've given them and things like that are going to get pulled out. And so the UK is saying they'll send people in to replace those troops to just do what American troops have already been doing. So that's not the same as like fighting on the front lines or even replacing people who are defending Kyiv or anything like that. Although I do think that may happen in the future. I think France is most likely to do that if that's going to happen. It wouldn't be them going to the front line. It would be them sitting in Ukraine, which frees up some Ukrainian troops to go to the front line, stuff like that.
Okay, so I have a question for all of the leftists who believes that Zelensky wants peace. If he wanted peace, why didn't he agree to the ceasefire? Why did he piss all over it?
He did. He agreed to it.
Hold on. He was going to sign that agreement, and it's not a ceasefire. That agreement. Hold on. Let me explain because this is important.
No, it's Buddy.
Mineral deal.
Buddy, real quick. Thank you, Skiztech, for the 100 gifted subs. I appreciate it. You're the best. I love you.
Great.
That's badass.
Make the money.
Ahead,
okay, but when Zelensky went to the White House, he was going to sign a mineral deal. A ceasefire was not part of that deal. Let's be clear.
How do you know?
It was not part of that deal because they would have reported that it was. What all that deal did was guarantee that America gets 50% of their minerals and that they would continue to talk, right? Because you need to have a ceasefire. Russia needs to agree to it, and Russia hadn't even agreed to anything at that point in time.
Russia was offering a ceasefire,
what Zelensky did was he was willing to sign the mineral deal. Trump kicked him out. He was willing to sign that day. Trump kicked him out. Zelensky has never refused to sign the deal. Trump was the one who cut that off.
This rhetoric. I've got it. I understand. Can you tell me why he didn't take the ceasefire? Putin was willing to at least discuss it. Zelensky said, "I don't want. They won't honor it, so I don't want it."
Let me jump in here.
No. You guys are conflating three different agreements.
Let's go to Tyler, then I go to Tyler.
Yeah, let me jump in here because I've been watching this transpire for the last couple of days. Yesterday, Zelensky flat out said that he is willing to come to the terms of a ceasefire. This is the first time the Ukrainian government has actually agreed to a temporary ceasefire deal in order to move forward. So they were never being asked. This was never part of the original deal. And you asked how we know that the deal was leaked to Bloomberg reporters. We have an article that was out almost a week ago. I read the whole thing. It told you point by point what was in it. And Wick is correct. That was not part of it.
And it's also three different agreements. Okay, there are three things that potentially could be signed. He came to sign the first one, which is the preliminary framework agreement, which was not itself the minerals deal. It was the framework in order to get to a minerals deal. That's what he was there to sign. And the second agreement would have been the minerals deal itself. And the third agreement would have been the ceasefire deal. He came to sign number one, not numbers 2 and 3. And he wasn't able to sign the first one when he got there. So they weren't able to even get close to the securities guarantee, which is the sticking point for number 2. But for number 1, he was ready to sign that day.
Okay,
that's it. But
why did he then create this?
What a beautiful end.
He just disagrees with the process. He doesn't want 3 stages to the deal. He wants 1 and 2 to be rolled together because he thinks that if he signs 1, he's going to lose leverage on number 2. And he's been pretty open about that.
Shouldn't have been discussed behind closed doors and not in front of the press.
Absolutely. And that's what Zelensky said when he went on Brett Baer that night. Like, I don't care what Trump said. The points that J.D. Vance and Trump are bringing up are completely legitimate. We just shouldn't do it in front of camera. But what really pissed off Wick earlier, though, wasn't that, like, everyone's got a bit of a more nuanced take than they're giving credit for here once we start to dig into it. What we're talking about more is not that we want to cut funding. It was more framed at Trump's actions right now with Russia are either A, placating him, and you're basically saying he's blowing Trump, or Trump's blowing Putin. I say it's completely normal for a new administration to come in and say, we're going to roll back the concessions of the previous administration to sue for peace. And you might disagree with what some of those are, but like you're talking about tariffs hurting the economy. That Russian oil sanction's doing more than any fucking tariff to hurt our economy. If we drop that Russian oil sanction,
I looked that up, and it just says he's considering them. He hasn't actually done it yet. He's just said, I'm thinking about it. Maybe it'll happen. I don't know.
If you're worried about the economy, though, because of tariffs, that Russian oil sanction will alleviate all those concerns and more.
Getting rid of it?
Pump those crypto bags. I want my Bitcoin.
Let me ask this, because it seems like to me that Trump has been very interested in like restructuring the current international order. I, for one, am not a huge fan of international rules-based order. I know that me and Ike have talked about that quite a bit. Are y'all like on the left? Do y'all have big objections to the idea that alliances can change if stuff shifts? I know we kind of touched on this with the Ukraine idea, because I know Trump brought forward the point that hey, some people on the right are open to new alliances. Would you not consider maybe an alliance with Russia against China or something, or some other force? I'm just hypotheticals.
Putin can never be
totally
trusted.
Fuck no.
Okay.
But
absolutely, I feel like it's
good. These are the people that you're going to run in 2028. We can never have world peace. Hell no. Fuck no. Over my dead body, world peace
exists. The thing is that if you want, like,
is Putin worse than Kim Jong-un? Can I get an answer from that from the left?
Yes.
They're probably, I don't know.
Yes.
Probably
Putin is worse. Who is Kim Jong-un invading?
Bro, are you serious? Bro, I had Russian roommates in college. I've never had a North Korean roommate.
Yeah,
you're insane, dude. You've been so you've Putin like is in your brain.
Who
like,
is North Korea invading currently?
Let's go to
dude. Would you ever want to live in North Korea?
North Korea is
Russia is not a place I'd want to live. It is not North Korea.
Dude, I don't know why you're bringing up North Korea. I feel like it's kind of random.
Because you're treating Putin worse than we treat Kim Jong fucking Un.
I mean,
you guys have this like special standard for him because you're war hungry.
Okay, we're not handing South Korea over to North Korea. We're not saying dude, just fucking have it. Actually, we sent troops to South Korea.
Charlie brings up a good point here with South Korea. Right? You bring up a good point with South Korea. So, well, hold on. Let's actually come back to something you just said here. So we support South Korea. North Korea is not. However, Trump brought this up, and I looked it up, and apparently they do have 4 times the tariffs that we have. This is supposed to be one of our strongest allies. We built this country. We pretty much maintained their sovereignty, and their tariffs are 4 times higher than anything we got on them. It seems a little bit like a fuck you to people on the right. This is South Korea. What do y'all have like objections to alliances changing? Now, I'm not saying that we go in line with North Korea.
Maybe reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah, but like reciprocal tariffs, like alliances changing. Do y'all have issues with these as concepts? Go ahead. We'll go to Prime and Charlie, and then we'll open it up from there.
Yeah, I'm not going to die on the hill that like Putin is worse than Kim Jong-un. I think that's silly, right? Like whatever. We can like have a tier list of dictators, right? And put them wherever we want.
That's why I didn't want to talk about that shit. That was dumb.
Let's move past that. But in terms of shifting on, you and I, we already know that we have different opinions on the international rules-based order. I think that it's something that needs to be expanded and strengthened on. But on the other hand, like I'm with you, the alliances can change, right? We can do that. We have a shifting world, allegiances and circumstances change, and that's actually fine. I want to know, like, what are we getting? So you said, like, allied with the U.S. and Russia against China, right?
I'm just throwing out a random hypothetical, like, maybe 50 years from now, based on whatever, right?
I hear you. And that is fine, in fact, right? Like, there was that, at some point in time, people were talking about, like, bringing Russia into NATO, right? Like, I don't know, it sounds crazy, right? But, like, these are crazy things that happen, right? But, like, time changes. And so I'm okay I want us to improve our terms of Russia, right? I don't want to end this war. I want us to continue, like, inundating them with blue jeans and McDonald's. That's the path forward. However, I don't know if what Trump is doing actually equals that. And I'm saying I actually don't know. I'm not actually making a judgment here, right? Because all I'm seeing is that like, it feels like a unilateral surrender at this point, right? Before we've actually gotten anything solid. Now, maybe at the end of this, right, come back in a year, maybe like Trump's plan actually worked out really well, and we've gotten to a great status quo between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. But right now, it seems like what we're doing is undermining our ally, Ukraine, for no particular reason other for the strict benefit of Russia. And if that's what's happening, I'm not for that.
Charlotte.
I mean, yeah, I agree completely. And I don't know if peace is an answer. You have to think about sheer amount of people that have died in the proxy wars between the US and Russia, specifically in the Middle East and in Southeast Asia, in Latin America. I don't think that peace is an option at this point. I think it's mostly harm reduction. And again, I'm going to agree with Prime Case here. I don't see how this is a path to peace. It more comes off as I don't know.
Surrender. It comes off as surrender. Just say surrender.
It's surrender. We're losing the Cold War. 30 years after.
Hold on, before
what is going on?
Cold War?
Hold on,
yeah.
guys. Hold on. Let her finish.
We're
gonna go Vic, and then y'all are gonna go.
No, that was it. It was a joke.
Okay.
By the way.
Yeah.
I know the war
okay.
is over. That's a joke.
He was worried. He was worried. Wick, go ahead, Wick. I know you got objections. Then we'll turn to the right.
Here's the thing. I want peace I want peace in Ukraine. I want peace in Ukraine. And if I thought for a minute that Putin would honor a peace agreement, then okay. Even if we have to make some concessions and sacrifices, okay, that's what I would advocate for. But here's the thing. Neither I nor any of you get to decide when Ukraine stops fighting. The only person who gets to decide when Ukraine stops fighting is Ukraine, right?
No, hold on. What? No, we're funding it.
We can't force them to make peace.
You can next, Temple.
We can stop sending them money, and they're literally gone. They're gone.
Let him finish.
Hold on.
Go to you next, and then we'll go to Grid.
Hold on. No. They're gone? That might be.
Yeah, what do you think would happen if the U.S. just pulled out?
Death is not the worst thing.
It'd be gone.
Republicans used to have this saying, better dead than red. Okay, let me ask you, at what point do you stop fighting? When people come into your house, break into your home, start killing your kids,
you're basically arguing that they get to decide with our
over
purse
and over again
what to do?
When do you stop fighting?
The EU is not funding them enough. Let's say that. They need our money more than they need Europe's money.
Hey, Wick. Are you going to I like your argument there. Are you going to apply that to Gaza, to the Palestinians? When do you
Are you going to bring up the Palestinians? They're different places with different histories, with different things. Okay, right? Hamas is also someone you can never trust.
Israel,
right?
Two-state solution.
No.
Hamas is also someone you can never trust to make a deal.
No. I'm muting people if I have to. All right, we're not doing that debate tonight. I want to keep my channel.
That's
not a debate we're doing.
Dangerous on Twitch right now.
Yeah, there's a couple topics that we don't want to go into. I don't want to risk
Tyler's fault. Tyler did it.
Yeah, no, moving back, we're going to focus on Ukraine. For example, you have objections. We're going to go to Grant and Tyler.
I forgot what I was.
We're going to go to Grid then.
No, Tyler was the one that was ready to go.
All right, Tyler. All right,
see, we're all thrown off now.
I'm fucking ready. Let's go. Put me in coach.
All right, Tyler. Go ahead. Go to Prime. Tyler.
All right. These guys, you say these guys are warmongering interventionists. I want U.S. boots on the ground. I want the United States to go into Gaza and take that bitch over. You're arguing with these fucking moderates over here. I am the warlock. Come at me.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing the Gaza debate. We're not talking about Gaza tonight. We're talking about Ukraine. So you stay muted. Yep, you're muted. You got a timeout now. Okay.
So
you bad.
Can I finish my point?
Yes, go ahead. Finish your point. Mike.
Okay. Thank you. Great. So the problem here is that there are things that are worth fighting for. There are freedoms that are worth defending, even to death. Death is not the worst outcome in these cases. And for Ukrainians, and I've talked to Ukrainians, I've had Ukrainians on my show. I'm going to have Ukrainians on my show tomorrow who are busy hiding from drones that are coming and exploding, whose friends and family are being killed as we speak, right? They don't want to surrender. They don't need Trump to help them surrender. If they wanted to surrender, they go to Moscow. What they're relying on for us is to help them. And I think we have a moral duty to support them, as well as it's our strategic and pragmatic interest to support them. Because the reason we have so much wealth that we do today in this country is because of our world Pax Americana, it's called, right? So we have a global hegemony. We are a unipolar power. That's changing, unfortunately, right? But the fact that we are able to guarantee better deals with other countries, trade flows into us. We are where cheap goods flow into like a river. This has made us safer. It has made us richer. And Trump is giving all of that up. And if Ukraine falls, they're going into Europe next. If Ukraine falls, Putin's going into Europe next. That's my statement.
All right.
Okay.
So, two things. One, to my good friend Gibbs, right? I just want you to direct your attention to our DMs, our DMs directly, right? You list all the things you want to discuss, right? And at the end, you say,
I did mention the MAGA thing, but in light of recent things, there have been.
That's fine.
I would like to
maybe
not do it. You're correct.
Yeah.
I did include that, but recent things have happened that maybe not want to go into that topic tonight.
Yeah, Charlie, it's pronounced USAID, not you said. I think you said that originally. Just wanted to put that out there.
Sorry,
I'm a chronic USA,
mispronouncer.
Can we clarify what it stands for too?
United States, American. No, actually, I forget. I'm sorry.
Agency of International Development or something like that, right? Yeah, so just giving our money to the rest of the world to develop them, right?
Because it's a soft
sounds great.
Thing, dude. It's
soft
weird,
when did you guys all decide to start saying soft power? What the fuck? This happened like a week ago.
I was wondering that too. I'm glad that I missed the
Hold on.
What the fuck is soft power? I always thought you needed.
Nobody said soft power ever until a week ago. I don't know where you guys get your programming.
Just because you never read it on the fucking TikToks.
No, dude, I'm saying we've done these panels for 2 years, and you all started saying soft power a fucking week ago. Don't gaslight me. That's exactly what fucking happened.
Not everybody has. I can't
this is my
me and I have used the term for months. Being
this is a common term. This is a very common term. I don't think you this is not a
Yes, no, I get that it's a common term and that it wasn't made up a week ago, but I'm saying you're all repeating it because you hear it and you just hope it's right and that it's the right answer, and it's not. It's not. Guess what? It's not. It's the wrong answer. No, guess what? The answer to should we give all of our money away to everyone else is not soft power. That's not the answer. It's so retarded.
My turn to talk, right? Sandwich, right? That might be how you get your ideas, but we've been talking about soft power for years on Twitch Politics, right? That's the thing. But anyway, moving on.
Soft power.
Okay, right. Don't worry. Look it up in the dictionary. I want to ask our conservative friends, though, right? Because Gibbs started us off saying, "Hey, are you guys open to shifting alliances, right? And reformatting the way the world works." So what I want to ask is, what do you guys want, individually, right? So Pentemple, Gibbs, and Brid. Sorry, friend. What exactly do you want, right?
I want our government.
Hold on, let me ask a question. Calm the fuck down.
God damn it! I'm sorry.
Do you want an isolationist future, right? Do you want America to pull back to not fund allies if they're in trouble? Do you want us to maybe focus on our own borders, America first? Is that what you're looking for? Or are you looking to maintain our imperial stance, right? Our bases around the world, our ability to project force anywhere on the planet, but do that in somehow more limited capacity? What exactly do you want?
Yeah, I think that you identified the spectrum, and I think that right now we want to move closer towards that independent side. Not all the way. I'll admit it's not all the way, because you make a point that we don't want to go all the way in that direction, but we're certainly too far in the other direction where we're just like, oh, you need this? Oh, some country needs something. Here, fuck it. Here's our money. We just print it, and it doesn't matter. Fuck it. Just take it. $36 trillion in debt. We'll justify it. The party will just justify it. It's fine. That's where we're at. We want to just pull this back and be like, hey, if your pitch is that everything's fine, I hope that nobody elects you. And that's pretty much what happened in 2024. So arguing manufacturing will never come back. That's probably one reason you lost. This idea that we just have to shovel our money out. Another reason.
For soft power, guys. There's a little blue pill for soft power. My chat just told me that. I assume that they're right.
So this.
Look, and to be clear, I'm not challenging the concept of soft power existing, but what I'm saying is, like, you can't just say soft power as a response to like massive.
You're so dumb. It's painful. You're so dumb.
I'm calling you out.
Okay,
please.
I'm not saying.
I'm gonna
go to Tyler, then I'll give my answer.
It's making other countries dependent.
I know.
It's a tool. It's a tool of imperialism, and it's making other
yes, and we should just give our money away. That's the reason that we should just give all our money away, because we can just say that. We can just say soft power is the answer. It just dropped a week ago. New update.
It's why we kind of ruled most of the world.
So you're pro like all this interview? You think we have a good track record across the world?
Yes.
You
the period between 1950 and 2025 has been
doing it. Why do you want us to keep doing it?
We have had less wars, less deaths, less conflict than any time.
Power is giving billions of dollars away for.
I'm not a warmonger.
Okay. All right.
I'm not. I'm not a warmonger.
You are certainly willing to tolerate a lot more war than us.
Well, hold on. Let's go to. I'm going to let people answer this
I
question.
can't co-sign on codependency.
All right, Grid. What is your response to Prime's question? I want to go to Grid.
I actually couldn't hear Prime's question. His mic is so low that everybody else.
Did you ask the question again?
Yeah, sure. It's low to you. I'm sorry if it's low to everyone. No one told me. But
it's a little low. I think I said something earlier, but
I think it might be the Discord. But I'll speak louder and then I can adjust the mic.
It wasn't a criticism. It was just an observation.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Sorry. So, what I was asking is if like what do you want, right, in terms of a desired foreign policy? Do you want to be more isolationist, meaning?
Well, I am isolationist. I made that very clear.
Okay, so you want to be able. So does that mean then you want to dismantle, right?
Police.
Let me just ask the other half of the question. Then.
Okay.
Does that mean if you're isolationist that you want to dismantle our bases around the world, our ability to project power anywhere, like military power anywhere in the world?
We don't need bases around the world to project military power.
Yes,
Russia projects military power without a single base outside their country.
No way does it. Russia cannot project power the way we can.
Hold on, guys.
This is how we own the free world.
You can't have it both ways. Don't talk out of both sides. Come on, don't do that.
All right, go to. We're gonna go to Tyler. I want to answer this question.
China, we're scared of that.
There's a few things I'm going to take a couple shots at both sides, as I always like to do.
Sure, but also answer his question too, and then I'm going to answer the question. So go ahead.
What was his question in particular?
My question about the isolation imperialism.
Oh yeah, I got a point. I was going to actually go at Grid at his answer.
Go ahead.
Fundamental. So, in terms of the major mistake of the Trump admin, I wouldn't say what Wick's calling out as the major mistakes. What I think is the biggest mistake is when Hegseth went on stage in the EU and said that they're taking Gaza joining NATO off the table in a concession speech. Like, that should have been left at the negotiating table. That should have been leverage they used and gave up for something else, not just say it and then just, Russia could just say, well, you already gave this up, so screw you. It was just a big fumble on his part. It's because he's kind of a rookie in the position. That's what I'd say is their biggest fumble so far in foreign policy. But we told Ukraine, I'm pretty sure Iko can back this. He's my living Google, but we told Ukraine that if they got rid of all their nuclear weapons that they inherited from the USSR, that we would give them security guarantees moving forward from Russia. So we owe this to them. And when you violate previous promises of the United States on the world stage, you are undermining the credibility of the United States. You're telling the world, we're a bunch of fucking liars and don't trust what we say because in 4 years, we're going to go back on it. And you cannot do that. Trump even knows that for a lot of different things. Yeah. I want to get to you because I got two things for you so you can double team them. So the second thing I was going to go to is your critique of isolationism. What you were saying there is specifically economically based. So I'd like to know, hearing Trump's proposal for this mineral deal with Ukraine and his proposal for Gaza, where he's talking about these being economic benefits in the long term, does that completely invalidate your critique of isolationism?
No, I think he's wrong about that. I don't agree with everything the man says. I don't have to agree with Trump on this. I think Trump is wrong on many things, especially outside the country. I think that we should be making a move towards more isolationism. I don't know why we provide security for the entire EU and they don't even have to have their own militaries. But that would be, this is and obviously that's a pie in the sky thing. It's not realistic. I want to address the thing and just refresh me really quick on what your position on that Russian thing, the treaty or the Ukrainian treaty? You think that that's still in effect or should be?
We owe them the security guarantees because we gave them to them like what 20,
right.
30 years ago.
So we actually signed a treaty on that, and then Ukraine, who was, and I will freely admit that Ukraine was basically controlled by gangsters and oligarchs at that point, and we couldn't trust anything they said. Immediately after signing the treaty to demilitarize and get rid of their nukes, they tried to sell them, and they tried to offload them basically any country they could, and we caught them at it, and we said, all right, deal's off. But we're still providing them. And also, we didn't say safety and security. We said we would provide support, and we are doing that through funding. So we're not going to send troops there. I really, accuracy matters, especially when we're dealing with something like treaties. And when people break treaties, it's important to understand that treaty doesn't exist anymore. Except on our end, even when everybody in the world breaks treaties with the U.S., we still hold up our end. Why is that? Can you help me out with that? I would love an answer on that. Well, why do we always hold up our end?
Okay, you said something, and I have a question. Can you show me where Ukraine tried to sell illegally its nukes? I've never heard that.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up.
I mean, to be fair, we haven't even Pakistan hasn't even done that in there. I mean, maybe if you got something, but I would like to answer the question asked as well.
That just sounds made up, is what I'm saying. It sounds like you just literally made that up.
You can argue about that later. That's fine. I do want to answer Prime's question because Prime did allude to this earlier. I'm not a fan of international rules-based order. I think that it actually has led to worse outcomes, even though it has been more quote unquote peaceful. And the reason for that is we developed like the Cold War, right? I think we now allow, due to the Cold War and international rules-based order, allowed nukes to get everywhere, as opposed to if we had been more aggressive and not had two perennial superpowers, we could have just gone in there and done what we wanted. Because I'm an imperialist. I like Manifest Destiny, whether we buy it or whatever. Because I think American culture is the best culture, and I want everybody to be American. Because the melting pot has created the most wonderful culture in the world, and I think that's what I want. So when we look at things like Panama, as an example, or Greenland, all right, I would buy Greenland if we could, and then I'd maybe retake Panama like we would. But it's like I don't see a situation where there's not allies that can't always be changing, right? Just because I look at NATO and I see it as Euro focused as opposed to American led. So I right now our goals align. I don't like Russia. I think they're an adversarial power, and I've been avid for my support of Ukraine. I own a bunch of military-industrial complex stocks, so the war going on forever personally benefits me.
One question on that, friend. One question then. So again, like I broadly agree with you that we live in a changing world and we should be able to change as well, right? However, don't you think there's something to like the people we do ally with being able to trust our word, right? I mean, one thing we say, hey, let's like make a 10-year agreement, and at that 10 years, let's like re-up, like decide we're going to re-up. But if we say like we're going to make this agreement, and then within 4 years we drop that agreement, right? Then that signals to the world that America isn't trustworthy, right? You can't take them at their word; it's all pointless. And doesn't that weaken us?
Yes and no, right? And this is the way I look at it, right? I'm going to use the South Korean example that Trump brought up. We get fact checked. It ends up being wrong. I'll eat crow, so be it. But say South Korea actually does have 4 times tariffs or whatever on us, and we're providing basically for all their security. Yes, I think we should maybe keep the agreement, right? We've agreed to that. They exist because of us. We should keep it. However, I do think there needs to be a reckoning at some point where some of these current deals are looked at and maybe renegotiated, because I feel like we've been too soft, right? As not enough, too much carrot, not enough stick. And I think that's hurt us, like on the international stage, where I see countries have been taking advantage of us because, I don't know, the stupid American seems to be a meme worldwide, right? Why is that? Well, because they're used to dealing with government officials, and it's a concern.
That's not why. That's not why at all. That's not why at all, dude.
That's not. It's no. It's on account of our behaviors. We're obnoxious.
Well, both.
Yeah, our tourism. They're talking about tourists and
it's
actually
the tourists, not like
civilians.
a government
I
official.
know everywhere I've ever gone on vacation or around the world. I've been to 66 countries and they were all super polite. I was nice. I don't think anyone was nice.
They didn't talk about
they don't always treat you like I lived in Scotland and they were very nice to me. But my more obnoxious, fellow American students, they were not very nice to because they were obnoxious and American. So if
but we don't even get to argue about the semantics of why people think Americans do. I think partially part of it, at least, is because probably some of it's tourists, but I'll grant that. I was kind of joking when I said the government officials, but I also think the government officials do. There is some truth to that joke. Don't help. So I think things should be renegotiated. But I mean, does that answer your question, Brian?
Yeah, you did.
Back to moderate. Who wants to go? Somebody wanted something. I saw hands go. I go. Go ahead. We got about 15 minutes, so here in about 5 minutes or so, I will go to each one of y'all. We'll get closing statements on the thing. But I can go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to answer your question, which was what happens if the United States changes its alliance away from the EU and towards Russia, for instance. So I just crunched a little bit of the numbers. We got a $28 trillion GDP. Russia has a $2 trillion GDP. The EU has a 23. The EU plus the UK combined has 23 points. That's the other half of NATO. Is 23.5. China has $18 trillion GDP. So if we realigned in a way that allied ourselves with Russia, we're just inviting the EU to then do the same with China, in which case their combined GDP would be 43.2 trillion to our 30 trillion combined with Russia. And we know that Russia's GDP is only collapsing further. Yeah, we can bail them out like a new alliance with the United States would be certainly a boon for Russia, but they're on the verge of collapse. The only thing keeping their economy going right now is this war. Once that war is over, they're going to go into a full-on economic collapse. They could only be bailed out by Trump if that's where his loyalties lie, which I suspect that might be the case now. I think that there's a lot of, you have Zelensky meeting with Xi, and I have no idea what that's all about. I'd like to see more investigation into what that meeting is all about. And at some point, if Zelensky determines that there's really no benefit to doing a deal with the United States anymore, at the very least, here's the thing: I don't want them to ally with China. I want them to ally with the West. And the only part of the West that they can ally with at this point is Europe. So giving the minerals deal to the EU is a heck of a lot better than giving it to China. That may be the choice that we're having to deal with. I think an alliance with Russia would be disastrous for the United States, especially if you're also talking about abandoning South Korea because of this sort of tariff thing that you've.
I'm not. To be clear, I don't advocate for abandoning South Korea. I would like to, if what he said is true, I would like to maybe renegotiate some things, but
renegotiating is a far sight from having an alliance with Russia, which was the scenario you asked us to consider.
Sure. No. Yeah, I also said, that's fine. Go ahead.
I know we're kind of speaking in the hypothetical here, but do you really think that if we sided with Russia, the EU would abandon us? Because prior, the Trump first administration, we've
abandoned them already. We're talking about a 25% tariff with the EU. Yeah. I think I don't think the EU would ever fully ally with China, but I do think a strategic realignment will be in order if a trade war starts.
Well, prior to this war,
I think they'll probably offer Canada a membership to the EU because Canada's finding out now that even with a renegotiated USMCA, they can't count on that for more than a couple of years. Yeah. Any new deal that they make with Trump will abandon instantaneously. They want access to a market, to a free market that they can rely on year over year, and EU can offer that, and the United States can't.
I agree to some degree. I just when before this war started, the EU was taking in almost 40% of their energy from Russia. They were fine doing absolutely full sorts of trade with them. Yeah. I don't think if we normalized Russia and it would isolate the EU to the point of saying, all right, well, we need to go over and deal with these autocrats here in China. I don't know.
Russia has finally taken our advice and have cut off Russian oil and gas. And by the way, in his first term, Trump was telling them to do that. He was saying, "Stop doing that." That was a moment in which I was agreeing with something that Trump said. You've got to stop. Yeah. So now that we're going to bail out the Russian economy and make it so that they can sell oil and gas around the world again. I think the EU, it's finally gotten itself relatively independent in this way. They're transitioning to EVs super fast, and they're also developing their oil and gas supplies, especially in Norway, such that whatever needs they still have going forward for this transition, they're going to be able to get a lot of their oil and gas out of Norway. So I think the U.S. a U.S.-Russian alliance would be very short-sighted.
Well, they're still number 2 right now in terms of their energy, getting energy from Russia. U.S. stepped into the number 1 spot. They converted over to natural gas, and we became their number 1 dealer. So, like, in a way, I've heard people that are against the war, like Jimmy Dore, say like this was the U.S. essentially stepping in and hindering the free market so we could sell our products instead of Russia.
All right. Well,
I wish we could sell our products instead of Russians.
Oh, absolutely.
But this new alliance that seems to be developing is not going to be good for that.
All right. Well, it's about that time. So we get to closings. I'm going to have one announcement, a little section real quick. First, I want to thank everybody that subbed and gifted bits today to all the channels and here. We appreciate it. We love you. You make it so that we can keep streaming for you, the fans. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to give everybody outros here. Tell everybody where y'all can be found. Give closing thoughts on the issue as well. And anything else. Tomorrow, I will be hosting another panel at 7:30 Central. And Friday, you can see me at 7 o'clock doing a comedy bit from Modi 201's dating show. And Saturday, I'm in the finals of Gamers Feud's gaming tournament. So check it out. It'll be good times. Tyler, take it away. Closing thoughts, where they can find you, all that good shit.
Well, Average Debate Enjoyer, Twitch, Twitter, X, and YouTube. Working on a really in-depth post-mortem based on polling actions, going all the way back to like refugee policy from the 90s to talk about why Biden lost the election. It's super in-depth. I've learned a fuck ton of in researching for it, and I hope to provide that within the next couple of months. Otherwise, working on inventing housing policy based on traditional left-wing policy, making significant concessions for right-wingers based on their critiques of left-wing policy. It's an experimental thing that's going to go through several phases and different panels of different groups of people to get different feedbacks from all of them. If anyone's interested in shit like that, check it out. I also posted in the chat debate between, a panel on Gaza of why the U.S. should go in, and it was fantastic. 3 people that all disagree on 3 different grounds, all getting along and having a really good discussion. Check that out if you're interested as well. I think I can sway you if you're not for it. Otherwise, everything I said here was right, and these people are inferior to me in terms of intellect, and, it just is what it is. Love you guys.
Thank you so much. Grid 1.
Hey, I appreciate I appreciate the invite, Gibbs. It was a good night. Had a lot of fun.
I like your fit, by the way. It's a big fan.
Like that. Yeah, thanks. My wife said I needed to look better online because I was wearing T-shirts and stuff like that. So
she's right. She's got a smart woman. Anyway, go ahead.
I know she is smart. I wouldn't have married her otherwise. Look, it was a good spirited discussion. Charlie, I'm sorry. I could not really follow your rambling. I wanted to. I tried hard. I couldn't do it. Honestly, Wick, man, you made some solid points. I appreciate most of what you said. Some of us, I don't think that you were acting in the best of faith, but hey, man, you tried. Way to go. And Prime, if I could have heard you, man, I would have responded more.
Hey, I wish you had told me. I would have turned up the mic.
I said something earlier.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry. But no.
Yeah, it's all right, man. And to everyone else, it was great. Especially Aiko, good to see you again. The rest of you guys, I think I've been on panel with Tyler before, but not Pentuple. I like that Pentuple guy. He's all right. So anyway, everybody have a great night. And it was a good time. I enjoyed it a lot.
I like Pentuple too. Lefty seem to hate him. Let's go to you, Pentuple. You seem to go. You're muted.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitch. I will say, sorry for getting animated. I like to have fun. It's nothing personal. I like having the discussion. I thought you guys were, I like that the way you guys think. I obviously don't agree, but, I thought the panel was fun. So thanks for having me. And, I don't really have any points to make or anything to close with. We covered a lot of stuff. So that was fun. And thank you.
Thank you so much. iCal.
I always have a lot of fun on these panels. I know a lot of the guys here, in different contexts, all have different things to offer. It's a pretty good balance on the panel. Good job.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Wick.
Beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid. MAGA over here is like, well, I don't live there. Who cares? Let them fight their own wars. Sauron? Oh, he's not my problem, right? He seems like that guy. Oh, Gondor is just as bad. Why do they keep throwing their soldiers into that meat grinder, right? Okay, look, we are a superpower. If we want to retain the riches, the wealth, the prestige, the safety that comes along with that, we need to support Ukraine. We need to keep them from falling, because when they fall, the world will be a less safe place. Wars will spring up across the globe. Taiwan will be next, right? And then Putin will go in to other areas as well. Poland will be on the chopping block. Gang, if you like what I have to say, if you enjoy my rambling, okay, you can find me at Wick TV. That's WHICK TV on YouTube and Twitch. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be having Ukrainian Anna on, Andrew Mercado, Lactoid, and a couple others. And we're going to be talking about the Ukraine situation in detail. So we have Ukrainians, actually, and people who've been to Ukraine there against non-smoker, Lactoid, and the Tankies. Okay, so this should be fun. Check us out. I love you all. Thank you for having me. All of you are, you know what? You were entertaining. Let's say that. Okay.
Thank you, Wick. All right, Prime.
I don't know anything about Sauron or Gondor or whatever that is, but I have heard about these things called White Walkers, and what I know is they're not my problem down here in the South. So I leave that up to the North to fight. But in any case, shout out to our friend Gibbs and anyone else here. Gibbs for inviting us, and then the people that I know, right? I know most of this panel. Nice to finally meet you, Tyler. This was a fun discussion, and Pentuple. I think you were, fantastic. I love animated people, right? And so it was a really good discussion. I'll send you guys all invites, and it's very nice to meet you as well, Charlie. Right? We always appreciate new people in this space. That's what Gibbs is trying to do here, right? Bring in new people. It can be like very intimidating, but I think you did a really good job. And hopefully we can work together again in the future. I do panels like this and other discussions, right? So React content and anything on my channel. If you liked what I had to say here, if you liked our interactions, or if you want a panel even more crazier than this, then what you should do is follow me on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch.tv or youtube.com/PrimeKai, PrimeCayes. I would love to have you. And again, thank you to my man Gibbs, who's been such a great host.
Well, Prime, thanks for having me. And also, that's why Prime told me to shut the fuck up and not Grid, because he's used to telling me to shut the fuck up every Monday.
Well, I wasn't on there this week.
It was just habit.
I was stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I'm catching strange over here, Prime. And finally, last but not least, Charlie, thank you so much for being here. Tell us everybody where to find you, what you do. Also, I know she's looking for people for her stuff going forward. So y'all check out her debate stuff going forward. It's good. It's a lot of different formats, so it's pretty cool. So check it out. But Charlie, go ahead and tell us everything.
Hi, I'm Enemy Charlie on Twitch. I just want to thank you for having me, Admiral Gibbs. And I want to say that I had fun. Sometimes it was a bit hard to follow, I think, just because we were a bit all over the place. But I did have fun. Though... Grid One Motorsport said that my rambling was hard to follow. Out of curiosity, did everyone else feel that way? Did you have trouble?
There was one time. There was just the one time that was like pretty egregious. I thought, but we really don't have to get into it. I think it was just us struggling to follow the relevance. It wasn't like you were nonsensical and couldn't articulate anything. It was just confusing to us.
You got the pen and paper. Once you got the pen and paper, it was all bam, bam, bam.
I thought you did. I thought you did a good job. I didn't.
I would just like to make certain that you
were too nice. You were too nice.
I think we got confused when the one thing.
All right. Well, I'm just, perhaps Grid is acting like he's never heard the term soft power before. So clearly he's not very well read.
I've heard it.
So I was thinking that maybe I might.
That was me. I was pretending I hadn't heard it.
Yeah,
that was me pretending I hadn't heard it.
So I'm glad that the rest of you kept up. That's good. That's good to hear. But yeah, if I do, I'll add you.
By the way, I looked it up.
The next time
I need a new closing. I'm just kidding.
You're all welcome to join.
There's a word frequency analysis tool that you can use on Google. It's called Ngram. I looked it up. Soft power started getting used a lot in political circles around the time of 9/11. So if pentuples like
what a coincidence!
Sort of,
I was
most of
4.
his
That's
education
crazy.
happened before 9/11, then I can understand.
No, I count.
why.
I was okay. Just to be clear, I was just making the point that like this term has like clearly increased in its usage in the last week to make this point that we should. That's
Well, it
all I was making.
increased
I'm not
since
saying it's like not a
9/11,
real
so-
term or
For you.
anything like that.
For you.
No,
This is the most your
Yeah,
thing of it.
people have said soft
I'll send
power.
it.
Yes, people have used the
I do
term.
have
I
a-
feel like you guys are
I have-
gaslighting me.
I actually have a hard out, so I will do have to end here.
Come on, your
Charlie,
side.
you gonna be streaming for a while after this?
Potentially, I might. I don't know. My shit's being blown up right now, so maybe not. But
If not, that's fine. I'll
Possibly.
just make somebody else. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you
but I
so
did have
much.
fun.
We'll get this going. I have to get out of here. I have to go hang out with the Latinas at the dance hall because
Oh
I'm
my
at the gym.
God.
So y'all be good.
Dude, Alex,
And,
fine. Left those
Admiral
guys
Gibbs, you got to
left
teach me. You got to
Yeah,
teach
yeah.
me.
To learn to dance, my dad told me a lot of things. He's like, son, you ain't too pretty and you ain't too funny. You better learn to dance. Like, all right, Dad, that's good advice. But all right, y'all be good. And I'll see y'all later. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye-bye.
Follow everybody. And until next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Ugh. Gang. My brain cells are gone. That was rough. Okay, gang, we're gonna end it as well. Did you guys enjoy that? Thank you for the $10, Dr. Tofi. I think I lost some brain cells listening to this. The least I can do is help fund your therapy. I appreciate that. I need better opponents. I need someone who will challenge me. I need someone who will give me something to actually work towards defeating. I don't know. These are just it's just dumb. They just don't know anything. They don't know anything. They are ignorant. And it's really, really hard to deal with ignorant with. The guy didn't even know what soft power was. These are basic terms, right? Basic terms. And look, I'm not saying that you need to know every single thing about every single topic, but this is something that everyone is talking about. It's a current event. You knew it was going to be coming up during this show. You should at least know the basics. Just a little. Okay? That is bad faith, Audacity. Do you think that guy, Pentuple, knew what soft power was? Do you think he knew what it was? I don't think he did. There was no indication he gave me that he knew what that was. He didn't clarify his point. I asked him several times, do you have a point? And then he laughed and said he didn't. You can go back and watch. I'm like, are you going to say anything worthwhile? And he's like, oh, no, not really. I don't even know how to deal with that. Is it over? Yeah, it's over. We're done. Crazy. I had never heard, and I might be wrong on this. Like I said, I don't know everything. The claim that Grid made that we caught Ukraine illegally selling nuclear weapons, I had never heard that before. I've never heard that even mentioned as a claim before. I'm entirely unfamiliar with it. Does anyone know what they're talking about? Because I don't. I think they made it up. I could be wrong. I did. I Googled it real quick. I didn't find anything. But that doesn't mean just because it doesn't come in the first couple pages of Google doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? Maybe it's there. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just ignorant on this. Maybe I just don't know. So if you guys know, right, then tell me, please, because I don't want to be ignorant about this. I'd like to know, right? And I don't think it's applicable to today, right? But I'd never heard that before. But that's the problem. Like, they just make things up. They just They don't know what's actually happening, and they just make things up. And I don't know exactly how to deal with it other than saying, I think you just made that up, right? Like, I don't know how else to address that point. There was a risk there that he did make it up and I was going to look foolish. But again, I couldn't find it. Yeah, that's right, Testy Johnson. That's correct. That's why I felt it was so outlandish. It's because it's one of those things where if it had happened, if this had happened in the past, this would be history, right? It would be something that would be referenced and discussed and talked about because, wow, that's a lot. A country was trying to sell nuclear weapons on the black market or to Iran or to wherever they were supposedly trying to sell them, right? That would have been huge. But yeah, it was nothing. So yeah. Fun times. You guys excited for tomorrow's debate? I'm excited for tomorrow's debate. I'm excited to have Ukrainian Andrew Mercado, Dylan Burns. We're going to have Lactoid, who is my favorite. Like, look, I disagree with Lactoid almost 100% on 80% of what he says, okay? Including tomorrow. I think he's dead wrong about tomorrow. But can I just say, Lactoid, great guy, really strong debater, really strong rhetorician. I'm glad I have him. I'm looking for more right-wing debaters of his caliber. If you are on the right, if you are a Republican, a libertarian, right-leaning libertarian, right, or someone who is just more sympathetic to MAGA, okay, and you want to be on these shows, I am looking for that perspective. I got a pretty deep bench at this point of center-leaning people, of left-leaning people to various degrees, but my MAGA bench is slim, and I want to make it deeper. Okay, Andrew Wilson decided to talk a lot of crap about me again on Twitter today. We had a little bit of a spat. It was fun though. I always enjoy when he comes in and starts talking stuff because it's easy to win against Andrew Wilson. He's not a hard opponent. But yeah, I'm not having him on my show. He's crazy and he's unreliable and he's not a good rhetorician. So yeah. I might box him though. Would you guys watch that? If I did one of those Creator Clash boxes? Matches or whatever? His wife challenged me to it. Not on his behalf, I think. I don't think I'm going to... I wouldn't fight his wife. That'd be weird. I wouldn't fight his wife, right? That'd be weird. But I as long as he's not like some 7-foot giant dude. He's not, is he? I don't think he is. And I wouldn't want to wrestle him. Like, I wouldn't want to do MMA. But I'd box him. I'm not 6'2", Audacity. Gelatinous Rube will fight Andrew Wilson's wife? Maybe. But I'm not totally against it. It would be interesting. I wonder if we could raise money for it. That'd be fun. I'm pretty sure Andrew is 5'1". Okay, I'm gonna have to find out like how big this dude is. Okay, because if he's like some 7-foot mountain guy with like 300 pounds of muscle, then I'm not stupid. Okay, I'm not gonna fight that. But if he's around my height and weight, yeah, why not? Again, this is just preliminaries. I don't even know if it's gonna happen, right? But if you guys want to see it happen, it's not out of the realm of the possibility. You can see his size when he was on the Whatever podcast. I don't watch his podcasts, okay? I just don't know. I'll just ask Erudite. I know Erudite's met him. Hey, Bisky. You came from Penn's chat? Well, thank you. Yeah, I just don't watch whatever podcast, though. Like, I don't know if it's his podcast or not. I just don't watch it. So, I don't know. He's 5'10". Oh, that's around my height. I'm 5'8". That's within the margin of error. I probably want like a couple, at least a month to train, right? Just to get the kinks out. How old is he? Is he like a 20? No, he's got to be older than that. He's got to be around my age, right? Did I like the debate? It was all right. But again, it might just be chit chat. It was an idle comment. I'm not sure if they're serious. If they are serious, though, it'd be interesting, right? Woo! Kerrigan with 25 gift subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are a hero. Thank you for the 25 gift subs. Really appreciate you. W. Kerrigan. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I didn't read your thing. What was my thing? I'll read it. Can you type it again? I'll read your thing. 25 gift subs. I'll read your thing. Sure. Type it again, and then we'll end once I read his thing. No worries. Too late. Wow. Now I'm going to be wondering what the thing was. What did I miss? I'd have to. Yeah. I think the last time I boxed was years ago, gang. I haven't been in a fight in over a decade, so I'd need to train up a little bit again. Okay. I need to get up back into the shape, right? So about a month train, right? Just to get the basics, just to get some definition. It'd be fun. Okay, if you guys want to see that, again, no promises. I don't know if it was just an idle comment on his part. Who knows? And the logistics, depending on when they want to do it, where they want to do it, that might be an issue. I don't know. But hey, maybe. Right? Maybe. It'd be fun. I just couldn't lose, though. That would be super embarrassing, right? So I'd have to make sure I win. Majin's gonna train me, okay? Get me into fighting shape, maybe. Yeah. Is that true? Zero fuck? Zero. That's your name, Zero Fox. Can you DM that to me? I know you have me my Discord DMs, right? DM that to me right now. If that's true, DM it to me. I want to see. According to Wall Street Journal, well, I trust Wall Street Journal. So okay, breaking news. Breaking news. President Trump just signed an executive order disbanding the Department of Education. That's big, gang. Yeah, send me the DM, please. I want it. I want the article. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yep, the draft of the Trump executive order aims to... So it's not signed yet? It looks like a draft? He's expected to issue as soon as Thursday. That's tomorrow, gang. That's crazy. I don't want to subscribe. It's a little late, so I won't stay on this a long time. But that's insane. If you have strong feelings, reach out. I'm making a tweet. I want to get people in on this. Thank you for the Prime sub, Better Methodist. Really appreciate you. If you have strong feelings, reach out. Feelings, either way, reach out. I think I just found next week's show. Okay, yeah, that's huge. Assuming that this goes through, assuming that it's signed, that's huge. The elimination, not the cutting, right? Not the shrinking, but the elimination entirely of the Department of Education. That's big, gang. That's next week's topic. Okay, that's next week's topic. That's what we're going to talk about next week. Wow. Woo! What is going on in the world? So much. It's not signed yet. It is a draft. That's true. Tomorrow is the Ukraine debate. I will be moderating, so I won't be stepping in. I got that out of my system tonight and yesterday, so that's good. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Cool. Great. Wonderful. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there, be square. Bye. I love you. Sexually.